There are children from the ages of 5 to literally 3 months old.
Quisimos saber qué piensan los propios migrantes, ellos que están aquí.
It's not the practice of the country, it's what the country has promised us.
But Russia has outlawed that organization.
This is a sight I honestly thought I would never see. Scores of Taliban fighters, and just behind us, the U.S. Embassy compound.
We hitched a ride with the Ukrainian military to a corner of Europe where lush pastures have become killing fields.
Right behind it, massive trees coming down on the next home, also destroyed. And this is what you see in neighborhood after neighborhood here. Homes have been leveled.
The 2020 presidential election results.
They are walking through with the loudspeaker, telling people to disperse.
Y es que, Julio, en la Ciudad de México han ocurrido accidentes en el metro, pero ninguno tan trágico como este.
It's been just over a week since the fighters swept into the city, and they've taken every single bit of equipment for themselves, and they're now just controlling the security situation.
Fearless local journalists and activists have risked everything to show the world what is happening, while outside access to the country has been blocked.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 43rd Annual News and Documentary Emmy Awards News Night, live from the Palladium, Times Square in New York City. Our first presenter is an Emmy-winning journalist and the first Latina to host a national newscast in the United States. And she's nominated for another Emmy tonight. From Univision, please welcome Teresa Rodriguez.
Welcome, everyone. Buenas noches. Good evening. I am so happy. I don't know about you, but I'm so happy to be back here in a proper theater tonight and seeing all of you in person to honor our industry's incredible talent. And may I add, you all look fabulous, and not just from the waist up, okay? On another note, a very serious note, while we're here tonight, our hearts are with everyone in Florida and the Caribbean dealing with the effects of Hurricane Ian, including some of our nominees who are covering this horrific storm. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in harm's way. This year's News Emmy Awards honors excellence in broadcast journalism for the year 2021. And there was no shortage of newsworthy events. There was an insurrection in our nation's capital. The first woman, and also the first African American and first Asian American, was inaugurated as vice president. The federal government recognized Juneteenth. Broadway reopened. We get applause for that? Okay. The Champlain Towers fell. That's in my neck of the woods in South Florida. Hurricane Ida tore through Louisiana, and the Mars Perseverance mission came to an end. All in all, just another year in our modern times, right? Well, throughout these victories and tragedies, and so very many more, news industry professionals, our nominees in particular, have shown great courage and dedication to keep the public informed of the important stories that shape everyone's lives. So, let's get the show started. I am so honored to present our first set of categories for the evening, representing the storytellers, journalists who introduce us to everyday folks who faced extraordinary circumstances. And the nominees for Outstanding Soft Feature Story, Short Form are
Miss Lucille, ABC News, Soul of a Nation, ABC. Running as Equals, CNN Digital, CNN. Shirley Raines, CNN Heroes, CNN. Why We Kneel, The Undefeated Presents, ESPN. Death in a Pandemic, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to Miss Lucille, ABC News, Soul of a Nation, ABC.
Accepting the Emmy, Susan Welsh, producer.
I remember those days back on the farm, we called it. I did hear about life as a slave. They never brought the subject up unless I asked. So I did ask.
Lucille Burden Osborne is 95 years old. She heard about slavery because she lived in a house with family who had survived being enslaved.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you to the Academy for this great honor, for recognizing our labor of love at Soul of a Nation. Thank you to ABC News for allowing us this space to create this groundbreaking show, showcasing diversity on both sides of the lens. Thank you to our president, Kim Godwin. Thank you to Miss Lucille Osborne. She is a force of nature. She's now 97 years old, and she's sharing her incredible story with us. And thank you to Sterling K. Brown, who narrated this as well. You can't go wrong with Sterling K. Brown. Thank you to our Miss Lucille team, Allison Lynn, Eric Johnson, our executive producer and creators, Robin Briano, Marie Nelson, Jazz Garner, Carl Dawson, Kelly Robinson, and Robert Zepeda, and of course, our director, James Adolphus, our entire Soul of a Nation family. I cannot be more proud of this work that we've done, and I thank all of you for helping with this Miss Lucille piece. Thank you.
Congratulations. And the nominees for Outstanding Soft Feature Story, Long Form are
The Babies of 9/11, 20 years later, 2020 ABC. What Happened to the Perfect Child, 48 Hours, CBS. The Comeback, 60 Minutes, CBS. How Life Looks Through My Whale Eyes, The New York Times opinion video, The New York Times. This family of black cowboys dates back 5 generations, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to The Babies of 9/11, 20 years later, 2020 ABC.
Accepting the Emmy, Claire Weinrob, senior producer.
I'm holding a twin in each arm. And those twins, 20 years later?
They were suggesting that they pick you up. That's it.
And here they all are now.
I'll put it down here for you, okay? The ladies walked a long way, so.
Wow, this is so cool. I'm so happy for us. This is such a great team. Oh my God, there's so many people.
I want to thank Kim Godwin, our rock star, the person who makes us believe that we can do anything, and this amazing powerhouse group of women, and of course Diane Sawyer, whose relationships are the ones that got us to this place. It was so hard to do this kind of story in the midst of the pandemic. 40 families from all around the world who came together. I'm going to be really fast, I promise. We have Janice and Maddie and Aaron and Taji and our director, Michaela, and Lisa Soloway, who's been with these families for so long, and Acacia, and there's so many other names here tonight. And one thing, at the end of our story, we had the kids come together and say, you want to build a mural? And Taji and I were like, and Michaela, we were all over this. And we're like, we want you to come and build one word that's going to mean something for all of us in this beautiful future that we have in front of us that's so scary sometimes. And the word that they had was unity. And I just hope tonight, in this land that we live in with so much stress and so much anxiety and so much division, these are what these kids want. So thank you, and thank you to David Sloan as well. So thank you so much. Hey, no, don't go.
Okay. Our next categories honor individual excellence on the technical, creative, and often behind-the-scenes side. So for outstanding editing, the nominees are
George Floyd, A Man, a Moment, America Changed, 2020, ABC. Day of Rage, How Trump Supporters Took the U.S. Capitol, The New York Times. Return of the Taliban, a Vice News special report, Showtime. Unlivable Oasis, ProPublica, Time, Truly CA, Univision Noticias. The Shockwave, Vice News, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to The Shockwave, Vice News, Vice.
Accepting the Emmy, Kareem Lopez, editor.
I was filming, walking behind my wife, going into the labor room. And the doctors and the nurses were right in front of me.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. This is incredible. Thank you to the Academy. I want to first thank Paula Newdorf, who's an amazing producer, director, and really the driving force behind this show. I think she's the main reason, honestly, that it came together as well as it did as a story. Our incredible correspondent in the field, Lama Al-Arian, and all the participants in the piece who told their story so bravely. Gemma Jordan and Matt Skeen, two incredible, exceptionally talented producers, directors. Thank you. And at Vice, I want to thank Nancy Dubuque, Jesse Angelo, Shane Smith, Subrata Day, execs, and everyone in the Vice team who worked so hard to make this show happen. Cullen Pack, Bianca Ahmadi, who oversaw post-production. Oh my God, I'm nervous. Music, Jackie Palazzolo. I have my papers here, I should be looking. Quinn Hellerman, who's just like one of the best AEs I've ever worked with, thank you. And John Balcom, our composer. And I have to shout out my parents, Maritza and Alfredo, I love you, and my brother Lucas, who are watching, thank you.
Now let's take a look at the nominees in Outstanding Graphic Design and Art Direction.
Graphic Open, ABC News, Soul of a Nation, ABC. The Hippie Trail, CNN Digital, CNN. QAnon Letter, CNN Digital, CNN. Joe Did It, But How? The New York Times Opinion Video, The New York Times. The Secret IRS Files, ProPublica. Pandemic Time, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to The Hippie Trail, CNN Digital, CNN.
Emmy, Elisa Solinas, Art Director.
Eventually ended up going through Delhi into Varanasi and the Holy Ganges and then up to Kathmandu. And I still remember it as being sort of magical. There was this town below you, which you've been heading towards for the last 6 months.
You're coming. I didn't realize this was as deep. I thought it was not as big as the other auditorium. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you to the Academy. I would like to also thank the writer-interviewer, Barry Need, art direction by Ignacio and myself, design and animation by, hey, who left? Anyways, Sorry? CNN. All right, design and animation by Agna Jerkinite, as well as the senior video production by Tem Doran, and as well as Sofia Cosiero, and the whole team. So special thanks to the creators of Lonely Planet, Tony Wheeler and his wife, for transporting us into a beautiful world of travel when it felt like a distant fantasy. Thank you so much.
In outstanding video journalism, the nominees are
The Green River Drift, 60 Minutes, CBS. Return of the Taliban, a Vice News special report, Showtime. Unlivable Oasis, ProPublica, Time, Truly CA, Univision Noticias. After the Flood, Vice News Tonight, Vice. Inside the Battle for Jerusalem, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
Guess what, folks? We have a tie, which means there are two. So the first Emmy goes to Return of the Taliban, a Vice News special report, Showtime.
Accepting the Emmy, Adam Desiderio, Executive Producer and Director of Photography.
Right here, we're on the roof of a wedding hall. This is the front position. There's snipers, so we gotta stay low. So just there is the Taliban flag. You can see it. They're in control of those mountains and a little bit behind us, too.
Thank you so much for this award. I mean, I think we're all very shocked by this. I want to thank everybody standing behind. It was a Herculean effort by everybody here. I mean, Joe Hill, Galara Kiazan, Javier Manzano with his beautiful photography, Seb Walker, Ben Solomon. I mean, without everybody behind me, we couldn't have done this. So I want to thank everybody here. Also to our Showtime friends, to Vinima Hatra, to Zoe Rogovin, to Beverly Chase, Sabrata Day. Thank you so much. To Jesse Angelo from Vice, Nancy Duboc. Thank you so much for this award. We're all honored very much.
And the second Emmy goes to Inside the Battle for Jerusalem, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
Accepting the Emmy, Dan Bateman, Director of Photography.
It's nighttime prayers for Palestinian Muslims, and this year, Israeli forces showed up unannounced. see that there was Israeli police actually inside, in the grounds of Al-Aqsa. That's what triggered the protests, and that's what triggered the anger today.
Wow, this is such an honor, thank you. We'd like to first thank our team at Vice News for giving us the opportunity and the platform to tell this story. Nancy DeBuck, Jesse Angelo, Sabrata Day, Morale Yousefi, Nikki Egan, Craig Thompson, and Sean Stevens. Without an incredible team on the ground navigating the events that unfolded in front of us, capturing this story would not have been possible. The team were Hind Hassan, Lemel Al-Arian, Ayman Abu Ramuz, and Oren Rosenfeld. We'd also like to thank Ana Yuka, Jose Flores, and Ilaria Polsonetti for an incredible edit. Lastly, we'd like to dedicate this award to Shireen Abu Akleh, a respected and highly experienced journalist from Al Jazeera who was tragically killed covering the Israel-Palestine conflict earlier this year. Her family is still seeking justice and demanding answers over her death. Thank you.
Oh, wait, your envelope. Can't forget the envelope. You'll regret it later, right? Okay, and for my final category tonight, I'm honored to present the nominees for Outstanding Arts, Culture, or Entertainment Coverage. And the nominees are...
Something's Coming, West Side Story, 2020 ABC. The Final Act, 60 Minutes, CBS. Soul of a Nation, Tulsa's Buried Truth, ABC News Live Prime, ABC. Malfunction, The Dressing Down of Janet Jackson, The New York Times presents, FX. 1,000 Miles, The Story of, Vice.
All right. And my final presentation of the Emmys tonight, Malfunction, The Dressing Down of Janet Jackson, The New York Times presents, FX.
Accepting the Emmy, Jody Gomez, producer and director.
When you're in the middle of a hurricane, you don't really know how you feel. But we started feeling indescribably bad for Janet and the reaction that was starting to coalesce against her.
Classless, crass, and deplorable.
Wow. Thank you so much. There's so many people to thank. I'm going to read off my list. I really want to give a salute to the New York Times for telling such courageous stories in the midst of so many brilliant stories that are happening in the world. I want to thank Sam Dolnick, Jason Stallman, and the amazing reporting team from New York Times, Rachel Abrams and Alan Light. Huge thanks to the folks at Left Right TV, Banks Tarver, Ken Druckerman, take a bow, for trusting me to tell this story in its own little controversial way. And then a special thanks to the entire exceptionally talented team that I was surrounded with and could not have done this without them. Mary Robertson, you're the best. Liz Day, Melanie Ben-Cosme, Fred Charleston, the greatest editor, Jeff O'Brien, Angie Kuhn, Johanna Schiller. If I'm forgetting anybody, please charge it to my mind. Thank you, and thank you for letting us tell such a celebratory but controversial story.
Thank you all very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening, and congratulations to all the winners.
And now, it is my pleasure to introduce the chairman of the International Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, Fred Cohen.
Good evening, and welcome to the international news and current affairs portions of tonight's program. The world is a very unsteady place for journalists to work these days. There are wars, hot and cold, almost everywhere. There are attacks on what we were once thought to be impregnable positions. And there are diseases which will not go away. Being a television reporter is challenging. What you report, how you report it, and how you conduct yourself affects your own life and the lives of your colleagues and fellow citizens. The nominees tonight in these two categories cover subjects from mysterious crime in Africa to turmoil in Afghanistan and to the storming of the U.S. Capitol in Washington. In times like these, the Emmys play a special role, rewarding great journalism and setting new standards. Here are the nominees for the 2020 International News Emmy.
Afghanistan, Taliban takeover, Al Jazeera English, Qatar. Afghanistan crisis, news coverage, Euronews, France. ITV News, storming of the Capitol. ITN Productions, ITV News, United Kingdom. Jornal Nacional, Fantástico Prevent Senior Case, Globo TV, Brazil.
And the International Emmy for News goes to ITV News, Storming of the Capitol.
Accepting the Emmy, Robert Moore, ITV News correspondent.
President Trump did in the end call on the protesters to go home, but this is nothing but tragedy for America.
This is exactly what was feared, but in no way is this a surprise. It has been fueled by the president's rhetoric, and it's increasingly clear this election has not healed the wounds. It has simply amplified them. Well, thank you to the Academy for this honor of a lifetime. Thank you to my colleagues, Adam Blair, Mark Davey, and Sophie Alexander, who's not with us tonight, for their extraordinary role that day. And thank you to Rachel Korp, the new CEO of ITN, and to Michael Herod, our foreign editor. But I'd also like to accept this on behalf of colleagues taking extraordinary risks in Ukraine right now, such a devastating war in the heart of Europe. Eyewitness journalism, being on the front line, is absolutely the passion and part of the DNA of ITV News and of ITN. And if we kept that flame burning brightly on January the 6th, then I couldn't be prouder. But I also would like to thank my fellow nominees who have done extraordinary work around the world. And thanks again to the Academy. Thank you, Fred. Thank you so much.
And now, here are the year's nominees for Current Affairs.
Black Axe, BBC Africa Eye, Nigeria. Domingo Espectacular, Parkinson's Research, Record TV, Brazil. Exposure, Fearless, The Women Fighting Putin, Hard Cash Productions, The Economist, ITV, United Kingdom. Slahi und seine Folterer, In Search of Monsters, Hofarichta and Jacobs, NDR, RBB, MDR, RTAPE.
And the International Emmy for Current Affairs goes to Slahi und seine Folterer, In Search of Monsters.
Accepting the Emmy, Ben Hopkins, co-director and writer.
In his best-selling book that he wrote in Guantanamo, Mohamedou writes on the last page that he invites the men and women who mistreated him to a cup of tea in his home. I thought he was just being polite, but no, it turns out he's deadly serious. And I suddenly realize he thinks that I, as an American journalist, can actually help him. His plan is that I should go out and find them for him. But hang on, how?
Thank you. It's a shame that John Gertz, co-director, co-writer of the film, can't be here tonight, because it's kind of his film. He worked for many years on this story as a journalist before we made it into a film. I'd like to thank him, all the funding bodies and broadcasters in Europe and in Germany who financed the film. Wonderful crew, especially Jörg Gruber, Klaus Eichler, Volker Tittel, and Daniel Regenberg, and our production company, and the Academy for this wonderful evening. 30 seconds, German timekeeping. Exit stage right. Thank you very much.
And now, a word from the Kremlin?
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Vladimir Putin. You might recognize me from such shows as Putin's Russia, now in its 23rd season. I get rave reviews from anyone who is still free to have opinion. But I am also star of Puppet Regime, part of weekly politics show G0 World with Ian Bremmer. We were not nominated this year. I will send complimentary tea set to Emmy committee later. But I have invited some of my friends over to watch your very peculiar spectacle of celebrating journalists rather than... They're here! Hey, it's MBS, my favorite millennial autocrat.
You know it. Look, I'm adulting so hard, I brought you some of your favorite. Crab salad!
Oh, get in here, you big bully. Oh, who else? Wow, it's Xi Jinping.
Hello, Vladimir. Are you ready for drinks bingo every time they say press freedom?
Yes, don't get too tipsy though. I still need you to bail me out of all of these sanctions.
No.
Hey, Kim Jong-un, glad you made it.
I don't understand what the hell a journalist is, but I am ready to kill at this party. Where are the chicken wings?
Ha, right over there. Whoa, who's this? Do my lying eyes deceive me, or is that Narendra Modi?
Yes, but please do not tell the Americans that I came.
Don't worry, my lips are sealed. By the way, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro is joining us only by FaceTime, since he is currently at home plotting coup.
Anyone who says I will not win this election is a communist, okay? Okay?
Right, yes. Okay, everyone sit down, and we'll be back in just a little bit.
Puppet regime.
We've seen some ups and downs lately, and some would say that's what gives life meaning. Like the love of your favorite show, there's one thing that is certain: the smooth taste of Four Roses bourbon. Four Roses, official bourbon of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences.
ABC News, honored for excellence with 41 Emmy nominations, more than any news organization anywhere. Thank you for making ABC News America's #1 most trusted, most watched, and most honored news.
The 43rd Annual News and Documentary Emmy Awards are brought to you by Vimeo, the official OTT platform of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Our next presenter is Emmy Award-winning journalist, ABC News Chief Business Technology and Economics Correspondent, and the host and creator of the acclaimed podcasts, The Dropout and No Limits with Rebecca Jarvis. Please welcome Rebecca Jarvis.
Thank you. I thought Putin might introduce me, but I am thrilled to be here with all of you to celebrate our industry tonight. There is the reporting of the news, and then there's its analysis, dissecting the information, and not only tying it back to history, but connecting it to what's happening right now and its potential effects on the future. The nominees for Outstanding News Discussion and Analysis are
Afghanistan's collapse, CBS News Face the Nation, CBS. Dr. Deborah Birx, A COVID Autopsy, CBS News Face the Nation, CBS. Reigning Chaos, The Circus, Inside the Greatest Political Show on Earth, Showtime. A Radical Rebellion, The Transformation of the GOP, a Fareed Zakaria special, CNN. Schools, America and Race, Meet the Press, NBC. Capitol Insurrection, This Week with George Stephanopoulos, ABC.
And the Emmy goes to Schools, America and Race, Meet the Press, NBC.
Accepting the Emmy, John Reese, Executive Producer.
The battle pitting parents.
The light is shining. All of you must go, and we will take back our schools.
Against school board members.
You know, I'm a public official, so I guess I'm open prey.
What do you think this debate about critical race theory is really about? Control.
This was a show about race, history, diversity, and critical race theory. And it was about a high school principal who was fired, allegedly for introducing critical race theory in his school's curriculum, which he never did. My thanks to Antonia Hilton for bringing us the story. Colleagues Sarah Blackwell and Emily Gold, and of course, our colleague and friend, Chuck Todd. Thank you.
And here are the nominees for Outstanding News Analysis, Editorial, and Opinion.
"60 years ago, we saw the face of evil. Amanpour, CNN. Blue States, You're the Problem. The New York Times opinion video, The New York Times. Dying in the Name of Vaccine Freedom, The New York Times opinion video, The New York Times. Humanity Has Not Yet Failed, featuring Greta Thunberg, The New York Times opinion video, The New York Times. I'm a trans runner struggling to compete fairly, The New York Times opinion video, The New York Times.
And the Emmy goes to, there's a tie. But you don't get to find out who tied until you hear the first winner. Blue States, You're the Problem. The New York Times opinion video, The New York Times.
Accepting the Emmy, Johnny Harris, video journalist.
What we're talking about here is that blue states are the problem. Blue states are where the housing crisis is located. Blue states are where the disparities in education funding are the most dramatic. Blue states are the places where tens of thousands of homeless people are living on the streets. Blue states are the places where economic inequality is increasing most quickly in this country. This is not a problem of not doing well enough. It is a situation where the blue states are the problem.
Wow, this is very heavy. It's really exciting to me to be here tonight, just to be here, but to win this award is an honor. The New York Times is a place that, you know, I don't work at the New York Times, but I'm a YouTuber, I'm an independent journalist. The New York Times works with me and allows me to tell really amazing stories because I get to work with really smart, amazing journalists like Binya Applebaum, who has been thinking about liberal hypocrisy for decades, and I get to waltz in as a storyteller and mine his knowledge and tell this story. I'm very, very grateful that I had that opportunity. I'm thankful to this team, to Adam, Emily, Jonah, everyone at the Times, to my little YouTube production studio, a very effective, powerful producers, Paji, who edited this and associated produced it, my wife, Isabel, who runs our business and is the leader of our business, and Tom Fox, who made the music. This is really an honor, so thank you.
And the tie winner goes to Humanity Has Not Yet Failed, featuring Greta Thunberg, the New York Times opinion video, the New York Times.
Accepting the Emmy, Norma V. Toraya, director.
The emperors are naked. Every single one. It turns out our whole society is just one big nudist party.
And if you belong to that small group of people who feel threatened by us, then we have some very bad news for you. This is only the beginning.
I want to congratulate everyone here, just because everything that you do is important. And so congratulations to the nominees especially. And I want to thank our team, my co-director, who me and him directed the film, Malcolm, Sophie, Paisha, Matt, Diana. Thanks to Adam, right? We've never met in person, only through email. At the New York Times, everyone there. Thank you, of course, to Greta for believing in this story and always speaking the straightforward truth about the absurdity of climate inaction. Special thanks to our families, my mother, and Jared's wife, Katrina.
So crime and justice reporting have long been a journalistic cornerstone. Whether it's murder, robbery, fraud, or corruption, a crime reporter probes and analyzes the who, what, where, when, and why, all in the interest of public safety, and sometimes in the interest of public curiosity. The nominees for outstanding crime and justice coverage are
George Floyd, A Man, a Moment, America Changed, 2020, ABC. The Station nightclub fire, who's responsible? 48 Hours, CBS. The Investigation, Dateline, NBC, NBC. The Jim Crow convictions, Fault Lines, Al Jazeera International, USA. Get Away from the Target, rescuing migrants from the Libyan Coast Guard, the Outlaw Ocean Project, and The Guardian.
And the Emmy goes to Get Away from the Target, rescuing migrants from the Libyan Coast Guard, the Outlaw Ocean Project, and The Guardian.
Accepting the Emmy, Ed O, documentary filmmaker and cinematographer.
وقاموا يتصلوا للميليشيات. قام اولا كده مجرد ما وصلوا قاموا اطلقوا نار مكثف، اطلاق نار كثيف وعشوائي. فالحمد لله انا يعني كنت موجود، والله كنت موجود حتى امام الذخيره يعني انت بتحس بانه صوت السلاح بيمشي فوق لراسك، تسمع بالصوت شيو شيو.
I didn't think I was going to win, so the first thanks goes to every character who trusted us with their stories. To cross the Mediterranean and flee injustice, conflict, climate change is such a, for the future of their families and for opportunities and safety, is such an amazing risk to take. So thank you to everyone who opened up their lives and their stories to us. Thanks to Ian for making this all possible. Will, who edited this, Hafa, Elise. Thank you to everyone who supported the Outlaw Ocean Project, everyone who published it and believed in our vision. Thank you so much, and it's an honor.
The next category recognizes the broadcast technicians who skillfully and creatively overcome technical challenges to get news on the air. The nominees for Outstanding Technical Achievement are
The Queen Carries On, a Gayle King special. 48 hours in CBS News, CBS. Mission to Mars Live, ABC News Live, ABC. New Challenge, CBS Mornings, CBS. Jenna skydives live with U.S. Army, today, NBC.
And the Emmy goes to Jenna skydives live with U.S. Army, The Today Show, NBC.
Accepting the Emmy, Mark Weinstock, VP News Field Operations and Engineering, Field Ops Network.
Is she screaming your name? She's good. Oh my gosh.
Thank you to the Academy, certainly to executive producer Tom Mazzarelli for believing in this shoot that it could happen, to Kate Gropper, to the vendors that helped us, AVS and Jetwave Wireless, who of course helped us. It was a lot of fun. We absolutely practiced it. It didn't happen by accident, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great shoot. Thank you.
So while the majority of our awards tonight focus on national reporting, we want to take a moment to recognize the media professionals working in regional markets. These nominees, you can cheer, these nominees, yes, represent the high standards of journalism and the honest quality reporting that defines our industry. And they've already been awarded regional Emmy Awards by the regional Academy chapters. In the first category, Outstanding Regional News Story, Spot or Breaking News, the nominees are
Surfside Condo Collapse, 7 News at 6, WSVN TV Miami, Suncoast Chapter. Battleground Salt Lake, KSL 5 TV Salt Lake City, Rocky Mountain Southwest Chapter. Condo Collapse, the 10 o'clock hour, Local 10 News, WPLG TV Miami Fort Lauderdale, Suncoast Chapter. Wildfire triggers evacuations, NBC 7 News at 11, KNSD TV San Diego, Pacific Southwest Chapter. Louisville's first weekend of protests, Wave 3 News, Wave 3 Louisville, Ohio Valley Chapter. Not Cancun, WFAA at 10 p.m., WFAA TV Lone Star Chapter.
Yes, and the regional pillar goes to Battleground Salt Lake, KSL 5 TV, Salt Lake City, Utah, Rocky Mountain Southwest Chapter. Congrats.
Yeah, Dan, can you see me? I mean, that police car is fully engulfed in flames right now. And it's getting out of hand here pretty quickly. I'm trying to stay safe and get behind this big piece of metal here at a track station. But that car is fully engulfed in flames.
So, they're not here to accept, but we can congratulate them with another round of applause. And in the Outstanding Regional News Story Investigative Report category, the nominees are
Full disclosure, ABC 15 News, KNXV-TV Phoenix, Rocky Mountain Southwest Chapter. Believe Them, WXIA-TV Atlanta, Southeast Chapter. My name is Anjanette Young, CBS 2 Chicago 10 p.m., WBBM-TV Chicago, Chicago Midwest Chapter. Police, Paramedics, and Ketamine, What Happened to Elijah McClain, Fox 31, KDVR-TV Denver, Heartland Chapter. Care 11 Investigates, Cruel and Unusual, Care 11 News, Care TV Minneapolis, Upper Midwest Chapter.
And the regional pillar goes to My Name is Anjanette Young, CBS 2 Chicago, 10 p.m., WBBM TV.
Accepting the Emmy, Peter Burgess, Executive Story Editor.
I mean, terrified, humiliated, not even understanding why in that moment that this is happening to me.
And the first thing police reach for is not clothing, it's handcuffs.
There were big guns and guns with lights and scopes on them, and they were yelling at me.
Well, big shout out to WBBM TV, and they gave me a little note to read for them. So on behalf of WBBM TV and its investigative team, Dave Savini, Michelle Youngerman, Sama Assad, and Jeff Harris, we'd like to thank you for this special honor. Social worker Anjanette Young was changing her clothes and naked when police wrongly raided her home. She wanted the disturbing police body camera video shown, but the day her story was to air, City of Chicago lawyers tried stopping it by filing a federal court motion. The station aired it anyway. Their year-long wrong raids investigation led to new policies, discipline, and terminations. Thank you very much.
You know, guys, it really hurts me that Joe Biden isn't here. Oh, what the hell, let's bother him anyway. For the 1000th time, there's no Brandon at this number. Joe, I'm having Emmy watching party. Come.
Now you listen here, Jack. If you think I'm gonna go across the world to spend time with an oil-rich autocrat who has no respect for the rights of journalists or human rights...
MBS, can you believe this? What should I do?
I don't know, man. You want me to talk to him? Because if it's me, you know, he might just show up.
Public regime.
There's a reason every Odyssey is named after the Odyssey. Because the world's most famous story isn't about staying put. It's about being there. So for those who want a story to tell, we have a world full of places to start.
The 43rd Annual News and Documentary Emmy Awards are brought to you by WeWork, the official workplace of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, and by Frontify, the official brand management platform of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Please welcome the chairman of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, Terry O'Reilly.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us live and in person for the first of our two-night celebration of the 43rd Annual News and Documentary Emmy Awards. Tonight we're focusing, obviously, on the news categories, honoring the best in journalism as judged by peer professionals from across our industry. When historians look back at this year someday, they're going to reflect on how our country and our culture weathered an international threat to public health, the likes of which hadn't been seen in more than a century. They'll write about the end of America's long involvement in military action in Afghanistan and Russia's incursion into Ukraine. They'll chronicle change in the British monarchy and the end of the Elizabethan era. They'll describe a year where extreme weather became even more extreme and where a Supreme Court decision brought the long fight for women's rights back to the front pages. And they'll reflect on a fundamental threat to America's democracy, where promoters of political lies and alternate facts sought to undercut the fundamental trust that citizens have in their government. But they'll also talk about television. They'll talk about the critical role that was played by our industry in providing vital news and reliable information, and also acting as a source of entertainment and inspiration at a time that our nation needed it most. It's in times like these that journalism truly proves its worth. Good, solid, reliable, objective journalism that values fact over fiction, that values accountability over advocacy, and champions the advance of truth in the interest of all the communities we serve. America's never needed its journalists more than it does today. And I'm honored to both welcome you this evening and to say thank you for the indispensable service that you provide to our nation. So on behalf of our entire Academy, more than 18,000 members across the United States, congratulations to all those being honored tonight, nominees and Emmy winners alike. Thank you for your work, thank you for your dedication to it, and thank you for participating in this special evening of recognition for the very best in our industry. Now, our next presenter, this is a real treat for me. Our next presenter is an Emmy Award-winning journalist who has covered Washington, D.C. since 2012. She's currently the moderator for Face the Nation and CBS News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent. From CBS News, join me in welcoming Margaret Brennan.
Thank you, Terry, for that. And it's so great to see all your smiling faces. And I do want to say before I get on, not only that I'm honored to be here with you in person, but to thank all of you, because I know the news has not stopped for the past few years, and that means none of you have stopped for the past few years. And I appreciate that, and thank you very, very much for all that you continue to do in these very difficult times. And thanks to your families, too. Because we're going to think right now and recognize the amazing work we do as an industry. Investigative journalists spend months or even years researching and digging to expose a truth that very often was purposefully concealed. These next categories honor the diligence and impact this kind of reporting has on our world. The nominees for Outstanding Investigative Journalism in Spanish are
Guerra del Agua, Aquí y Ahora, Univisión. La Oscura Luz del Mundo, Aquí y Ahora, Univisión Investiga, Univisión. Así son las cocinas de los narcos, Noticiero Telemundo, Telemundo. Coyotes, Noticiero Telemundo, Telemundo. Secuestrados, Noticiero Telemundo, Telemundo.
And the Emmy goes to La Oscura Luz del Mundo. Univision Investiga, Univision.
Accepting the Emmy, Gerardo Reyes, Director, Univision Investigative Unit.
Garcia, your true name, sir.
Para el gobierno, Nazón es un recluso más. Para su comunidad, es un representante de Dios preso en la tierra.
Yo no soy un hombre de fácil palabra.
No soy abogado, no soy arquitecto, no soy médico, pero yo te digo la verdad. Dios me llamó por su gracia.
Thank you very much to the Academy. I have a special thank you to Margarita Rabin, our executive producer. She has been working in Univision for 25 years, and he was fundamental for this project. Thank you, Isaias. You made it. You are the mastermind of this project. Thank you, Siri, Paula, and Rafael, who helped us in this. And also, I would like to thank the unconditional support of Maria Martinez Henao, Vice President of News, Leopoldo Gómez, President of News, Daniel Coronel, y unas gracias especiales a todas las víctimas que se atrevieron a hablar contra este señor ante las cámaras de Univisión y ante los jueces. Thank you.
Congratulations again to all of you. The nominees for outstanding, they're so happy. I love seeing this. Congratulations. The nominees for outstanding investigative news coverage, short form, are
The Lost Children of Xinjiang, Anderson Cooper 360, CNN. Nora O'Donnell Investigates, a silent epidemic in the U.S. military. CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell, CBS. Seatback Collapse, CBS Mornings and CBS Evening News, CBS. Ethiopia, exposing the hallmarks of a genocide, CNN. How a U.S. drone strike killed the wrong person, The New York Times.
And the Emmy goes to How a U.S. drone strike killed the wrong person, The New York Times. Come on up.
Accepting the Emmy, Evan Hill, reporter.
A U.S. official said the military feared the car would leave again and go into an even more crowded street or to the airport itself. The drone operators, who hadn't been watching Ahmadi's home at all that day, quickly scanned the courtyard and said they saw only one adult male talking to the driver and no children. They decided this was the moment to strike.
Thank God I prepared. Oof, did not think our little team would win this. Thank you to the Academy. We want to acknowledge tonight the Ahmadi family and their tremendous loss. This investigation would not have been possible without their help and their willingness to participate. I think I speak for the whole team when I say that this is the most impactful piece of journalism any of us have ever produced. It's not every day that you uncover a U.S. drone strike gone wrong with the video evidence to prove it. Our work on the visual investigations team started with a geolocation from my colleague Haley Willis, which is an essential part of our work, and it continued on the ground with the reporting of Matthew Akins, a very intrepid reporter who couldn't be here tonight, who acquired the security camera footage that proved the U.S. military killed the wrong person. This story, as all our stories are, is the product of a team, a very dedicated team, and that's producer Christoph Kuttel, senior producer Whitney Hurst, who could not be here tonight, editor Ainara Tiefenthaler, graphics editor Drew Jordan, and executive producer Mark Scheffler. Thank you very much.
The nominees for outstanding investigative news coverage, long form, are
Handcuffed to the Truth, 60 Minutes, CBS. Unrelinquished, When Abusers Keep Their Guns, Fault Lines, Al Jazeera International, USA. Yemen's COVID Cover-Up, Frontline and BBC Arabic, PBS. Pandora Papers, Frontline in partnership with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, PBS. Blindsided, Nightline, ABC. The Shockwave, The Source, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to Yemen's COVID cover-up, Frontline and BBC Arabic, PBS.
Accepting the Emmy, Nawal Al-Maghafi, producer, director, and correspondent.
This is Sana'a, the capital of Yemen. It's April 2020 and COVID is raging around the world. But here, the city markets are still full of people.
ولا يكون لها خير احنا مؤمنين واحنا مسلمين ومتكاتفين ان شاء الله ما يكون لها خير.
It's such an honor to be here. What can I say? Making a film about COVID in a country that's denying COVID even exists is incredibly difficult, but we couldn't have done it without our incredible team and without the bravery of our contributors. You know, the doctors who are working on the front line in a country that's facing the world's worst humanitarian crisis. We were in awe of them. And the people who had lost loved ones to COVID, who spoke to us at great risk to themselves. You know, we couldn't have done this without them. And also without the bravery of our great local team, Ahmed Baydar, who's come all the way from Yemen. Also our other local producer, Abdurrahman Khalid, who couldn't be here today. Our incredible cameraman, Mohammed Al-Mikhlafi, who's not here. And who we wish was here but couldn't be here because of visa problems. Our amazing producer, Sara Ubaida, to really shape this film from day one in development all the way till the end of the edit. Thank you so much. Who else? Our amazing executive producers, Andrew Metz, Monica Garnsey, Dan Edge from PBS. Also our commissioning editors, Rainey Aronson from Frontline PBS, who's here today as well, and Tim Orford and Chris Mitchell from BBC Arabic, and our editor, I nearly forgot our editor, the brilliant Gary Bealders. So thank you all so much, and it's such an honor. Thank you.
Well, covering continuing news stories is like running a marathon. All of you know that. And doing it at a sprint's pace. Tirelessly keeping up and following up as new information becomes available. The following categories honor these particular efforts. First up, outstanding continuing news coverage, short form. The nominees are
Afghanistan Unraveling, ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, ABC. The Climate Crisis, ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, ABC. The Coup in Myanmar, CNN. Richard Engel, Afghanistan Continuing Coverage, NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt and Today, NBC. Battle for Care, Vice News Tonight, Vice. Haiti, Descent into Chaos, Vice News Tonight, Vice. India's Deadly Delta Wave, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to The Climate Crisis. ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, ABC.
Accepting the Emmy, Chris Dinan, Senior Broadcast Producer.
She touches her stomach and tells us it hurts.
She said that she's pain in the stomach.
There is pain from the red cactus. I mean, this is an emergency.
Yeah, it's clearly an emergency.
You can see it here in the faces of the children, so many of them already severely malnourished.
Thank you so much. I'm accepting this on behalf of the World News team, which is unfortunately on their way down to Florida right now to cover the hurricane and can't be here tonight. But special thanks to that small team that went on the ground to make all of this happen, to David Muir, to executive producer Almin Karamanovic, to producer Esther Castillejo, and to Nikki Dubois, the amazing cameraman who captured all those amazing images and unfortunately can't be here due to a visa issue. Special thanks to our president, Kim Godwin, who champions this kind of journalism all across our news division. Special thanks to the UN's World Food Program, which does such amazing work in the most difficult circumstances around the world. This award is dedicated to all of those who are suffering from the effects of climate change all around the world. Special thanks to everybody who was part of this, who I've not named. Thank you very much.
Next, for outstanding continuing news coverage, long form, the nominees are
The Life and Legacy of George Floyd, 2020 ABC. The Fall of Afghanistan, CNN. 6 weeks inside the Texas abortion ban, Vice News Tonight, Vice. Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan, Vice News Tonight, Vice. Yemen, the Forgotten War, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to... Didn't want to come out. Yemen, the Forgotten War, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
Accepting the Emmy, Isabel Young, Senior Correspondent.
كان الجسد قدامي كان بالمقدمة كنا نصت لي ورق يعني كانوا يقدمونا بالمقدمة هم بالآخر لا كتب واحد ولا شيء طلعوا كرهت العيش كنت أتمنى الموت.
These kids have seen unimaginable horrors. But after 3 months here, they'll be leaving the tranquility of this center and heading back to the outside world.
Thank you so much. This is obviously such an honor. I actually genuinely didn't prep anything because I thought Ahmed Baida, who is our super fixer, who should be here, and I thought was going to accept this for us. Baida! Sorry, I know this breaks all the Emmy rules, so I'm really, really sorry, Emmy people, but everyone obviously thinks that I do all the work because I'm on camera, but this guy is our super fixer and he's amazing.
Oh my God, who should I thank? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I'm well dressed. It is a great honor to see our work in Yemen with Vice News win an Emmy tonight. I want to thank the Academy for recognizing our story. A special thanks to Vice News for casting a spotlight on the crisis in Yemen, and to our Yemeni team for their professionalism and for keeping us safe. And I am here because of Vice News. Sponsored my trip. Thank you so much. These guys are great, and we did great reporting. Congratulations, Vice.
You gotta love that. Such art. Each year, the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences presents multiple scholarships to deserving students so that they can pursue studies related to the television industry. The Mike Wallace Memorial Scholarship is awarded to a student pursuing a career in television journalism. Funded by a grant from CBS News in honor of longtime correspondent Mike Wallace, this award is given to a bright, young, promising, persevering journalist to help them pursue their passion. And it was established to honor Mike's legacy as a truth teller, a bastion of integrity and credibility, and his belief in the importance of mentorship. And on this last point, he once said, quote, "The satisfaction that you get from being a mentor, from helping someone young whom you admire, in whom you see a future, the satisfaction you get as that blossom begins, the petals begin to expand, it's a glorious thing to watch." And this year's scholarship winner has just started his first year at Miami-Dade College. But, some Miami-Dade folks. But he's already started, actually, developing professional level poise and presence, as you'll see, during his tenure as a student correspondent for Christopher Columbus High School's CCNN News Network in Miami, Florida. And he has tackled topics ranging from human interest stories like helping young people find places to volunteer their time, to informative reporting on COVID vaccine distribution. And no doubt he is in the midst of a story right now in his hometown. He also tackles the tech beat with a dive into the NFT market. So you don't have to Google, you just have to listen to him. Take a look at some of his work.
Most people get their haircuts at a traditional barbershop or salon, but Vincent Blackburn is on the move, taking his services to his customers in an innovative way. And as vaccinations are underway, domestic healthcare professionals hope that the American public puts trust into the nation's medical scientists as they continue to promote the aim of the vaccine to lessen the spread of COVID-19. And as another successful Saturday winds down, Abraham will continue to inspire the next generation of athletes through Birch Sports. And as for me, I think I'm gonna get some exercise in myself. For CCNN Live, I'm Tommy Pozzo, reporting. As the sushi rolls out and the day comes to a close, people like Nerio and his plant-based sushi will continue to make visitors feel like they have a little piece of the globe right here in their own home. For CCNN Live, I'm Tommy Pozzo, reporting.
So this one might be my favorite. It is my pleasure now to present the 2022 Mike Wallace Memorial Scholarship to Thomas Pozzo. Come on out.
Wow, thank you guys so much. It's kind of like surreal to see myself on that screen, but I do have a speech prepared, so I'll start with that now. First, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't say thank you to my mom. She's been there for me from the beginning, so I wanted to say thank you to the Academy. It sounds crazy that I'm even saying that already, but thank you to the Academy, truly. But really, I shouldn't be here. So in the 8th grade, fate was on my side. My middle school participated in an academic competition, and one of the categories was broadcast journalism. I'd always consider myself one to share the good, and I had done some acting as a kid, so I was kind of comfortable in front of the camera, so I figured, why not? I asked the teacher, she said no. She said the team was full, but it couldn't have possibly been picked already. I had been asking for weeks. See, I have ADHD, so growing up as a kid, it was hard for me to stay focused, sit still, not be distracting. And let's just say my teacher wasn't the biggest fan. Luckily for me, though, my principal was a fan. And so when one of the students dropped out of the competition, the principal demanded that I was a part of the team. This small twist of fate and Sister Margaret's faith and belief in me allowed me to compete, win the first place gold medal, and also be introduced to the moderators at CCNN Live, Mr. Omar Delgado and Miss Christy Insua. Mr. Delgado and Miss Insua saw me, taught me, believed in me, and inspired me. So this is for them, and this is for Sister, and this is for me, for sticking with that kid, that 13-year-old kid who really just wanted to tell stories. Thank you guys so much, and adelante.
Wow, a Miami kid. If there's one thing that we Russians love, it's Miami. But you know who else loves Florida? Finally, he's here.
Hello, losers. Sorry I'm late. The Xerox machine at Mar-a-Lago is giving me problems. Big league.
Donald, before you sit down, grab me a borscht popsicle from freezer over there.
Vladimir, as you know, I am not your errand boy.
Now, Donald, do not forget extremely embarrassing compromat I still have on you.
Oh, please. The P-tape was a total hoax. Even the lamestream media has admitted that by now.
Yes, but I have something much, much worse. Donald, or should I say, Farmer Don?
No. No. Not that thing I did at the Emmys in 2005.
Now get me my borscht popsicle.
Okay.
Public regime.
STEM is everywhere. Like here, behind the scenes of The Walking Dead.
When we break down clothes, we tumble it with trisodium phosphate, rock salt, and dish detergent.
We stitched together images of our model and created a 3D set that can be walked through in a VR headset.
We're able to turn 12 walkers into 1,000 walker hordes.
STEM can create new worlds on and off the screen. What will you make with STEM? Get inspired at shecanstem.com.
This is Katja. This is Maurice. Tomorrow will be their last day. In this fire, two lovers found a home.
Experience it in IMAX. Rated PG.
The 43rd Annual News and Documentary Emmy Awards are brought to you by Four Roses, the official bourbon of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Our next presenter is an Emmy-winning CNN correspondent and a nominee tonight in the Outstanding Emerging Journalist category. Please welcome Omar Jimenez.
All right, we're still awake. We're good, right? No one needs to hand out any shots or anything. We're in good shape? Good. Good evening. Thank you for having me. It's great to see all of you all and to participate, of course, in this celebration. Breaking news. They're two words that I know you all know very well, but together command the public's immediate attention. And getting these types of stories on the air requires cool heads and demands a dedication to accuracy. There's a grave responsibility to get the facts straight in the heat of the moment. And these next nominees exemplify that dedication. These are the nominees in Outstanding Edited Breaking News Coverage.
The Beast, 60 Minutes, CBS. January 6th, 60 Minutes, CBS. 24 Hours, Assault on the Capitol. ABC News Originals for Hulu. The Insurrection. ABC World News Tonight with David Muir. ABC. A reporter's video from inside the Capitol siege. The New Yorker. Inside the Battle for Jerusalem. Vice News Tonight. Vice.
And the Emmy goes to Inside the Battle for Jerusalem, Vice News Tonight.
Accepting the Emmy, Hend Hassan, correspondent.
The Israeli police have been arresting loads of Palestinian children. Palestinians are retaliating because so many young men have been taken away by police.
عالم معلهاش جايه توصل باب الله تغشوهم خروا مسكوا سخكوا كلكم تسووا بدكم اياه تعسيمه بلا خايا يا زلمه
Oh, am I allowed to say that? Sorry. Even with heels on, this is too high. Everyone says they're honored. We are so honored. I never thought that a report like this would win an Emmy. So first of all, I want to thank the people who believed in us. Shane, Sarush, Nikki, Jesse, Moral, Nancy, Sabrata, Craig, Sean, everyone. I'm so sorry if I've forgotten a name. I'm just a little bit overwhelmed. Thank you so much for trusting us. These guys are incredible. They work so hard at this. There's so many people here. Special shout out to Oren and Eamon, who came from Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, who worked on this. We are literally nothing without the journalists who are on the ground, who get these stories together. And Lema El Arian, who pushed this story, the heartbeat behind this. She should have been on stage for the other award, but didn't make it up. Thank you so much for them. It's so surreal to be like in a glamorous place like this, receiving an award when we report on conflict and people are suffering, and those people that we report on, they're still suffering. So it feels a little bit wrong. So I want to dedicate this to everybody who trusts us with their stories and everybody who lets us into their lives and the people who are still suffering. And Shireen Abu Akleh, who just paved the way for us. We want to remember her and the work that she does. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, this next category is for outstanding coverage of a breaking news story in Spanish. The nominees are
Crisis en Texas, aquí y ahora, Univisión. España, volcán en erupción, CNN en español. Insurrección en el Capitolio, CNN en español. Enero 6, asalto a la democracia, Noticiero Telemundo, Telemundo. Desafío a la democracia, Noticiero Univisión, Univisión.
And the winner is Enero 6, Asalto a la Democracia, Noticiero Telemundo.
Accepting the Emmy, Cristina Londoño, correspondent.
Bueno, José, es que el nerviosismo es grande por lo que está pasando acá. Hemos visto por las imágenes que puedo ver por el teléfono de lo que está pasando afuera. Imagínate nosotros en un sótano. Pues muestran que son miles de personas los que están en las puertas. Ahí lo tienen, nos están diciendo que nos vayamos, nos estamos alejando cada vez más. No nos dicen para dónde, solamente nos van empujando. Ven por acá, ven por acá.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I'm so honored and very nervous because I have the responsibility of representing a very large group of journalists, dozens that knew what to do that day, how to cover January 6th when we didn't know it was going to be January 6th, but most of them are in Miami today or in South Florida covering Hurricane Ian. That day, we didn't know what to do. We weren't expecting it, as I said before. But as events started unfolding, we knew how to cover it. We knew we had to tell the truth. We knew we had an incredible responsibility in our hands. And I was blessed to be part of the most amazing team of professionals. Edwin took his live view on as we were evacuated down to the basement. We saw legislators crying, some of them angry, cussing, others having health scares. We saw SWAT team members getting hurt, crying from the tear gases, but we just kept on covering the news and telling them the truth. Sometimes it seems that many people are trying to rewrite what happened that day or re-explain it. I am very proud to say that Telemundo News got it right. There were lives lost, there were many more in danger. Democracy was at stake, and at the end of the night, it prevailed. Thank you so much.
All right, the nominees for Outstanding Live Breaking News Coverage are...
The January 6th Insurrection, ABC News Special Events, ABC. Belarus, Inside a Manufactured Migrant Crisis, CNN. Assault on the Capitol, CBS News, CBS. Haitians converge on the U.S.-Mexico border, CNN. January 6th Attack on the Capitol, NBC News Specials, NBC. PBS NewsHour's special coverage of the Electoral College count, PBS NewsHour, PBS.
And the Emmy goes to January 6th Attack on the Capitol, NBC News Specials.
Accepting the Emmy, Matt Frucci, Executive Producer.
Well, it looks now like the Capitol, the police are
Pete, let me break away from you a second, because things are happening very quickly there on the appears to be the east side of the Capitol. People now have moved past the police and into the building. Ellis and Barbara, what can you tell us?
Hey, Lester, yeah, you could see what's happening right in front of us. We saw Capitol Police trying to push people back, hold them back.
All right, thank you guys very much for this honor. I think it's clear based on how many other networks were honored for their January 6th coverage that on a day when democracy was under attack, at least one pillar of democracy, the free press, did its job and did its job well. I want to thank the members of the specials team. It was literally my third day on the job when this happened. So they carried us through this. So thank you to Christian and Neil and Tony and Emma and Janelle Rodriguez. Lester can't be here. He is down in Florida covering the hurricane. But he and Savannah are two of the best. They are the people you want in the chair when something like this happens. Too many people to thank at NBC News. I think the whole organization came together to keep us on the air. But I do want to do special thanks to our teams on the Capitol that day, both inside and outside the Capitol. When their lives were at risk, they never stopped reporting. They did it with purpose, with accuracy, and with courage. So we thank them, and thank you.
So from breaking news to timely, important, consequential, these are the hallmarks of a hard news story. These next categories honor the very best in this intense niche of the industry. The nominees for Outstanding Hard News Feature Story, short form, are
Aksum, Journey to a Sacred City, CNN. Chinese detective turned whistleblower reveals torture against Uyghurs, CNN. 9-year-old Afghan sold into marriage, the lead with Jake Tapper, CNN. Searching for the lost graves of Louisiana's enslaved people, the New York Times. The Central African Republic is enlisting Russians in its war against rebels, Vice News Tonight, Vice. Death threats, election officials call it quits, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to 9-year-old Afghan sold into marriage, the lead with Jake Tapper, CNN.
Accepting the Emmy, Anna Koren, international correspondent.
My father has sold me because we don't have bread, rice and flour. He has sold me to an old man. The white-bearded man who claims he's 55 years old comes to collect her.
Wow, what an honour. Thank you so much to the Academy. Firstly, this story wouldn't have been possible without my dear friend and fixer, Abdul Basir Bina. He made that happen. To Elena Lee, my boss back in Hong Kong, for believing in me and in believing in the story. To our incredible CNN team, our management, for standing by this story, to Jaden Sham, Alex Dicker, Bex Wright, to Zane Hosgood, people who got behind the story back in Hong Kong and made this happen. And lastly, to Stephanie Sinclair from Too Young to Wed. She was the one who saved Parwana. And, Parwana is one of the lucky ones. There are millions upon millions of other Afghan girls who have no future. So thank you for allowing me to give them a voice tonight. Thank you.
That feeling of announcing an Emmy for a teammate, I highly recommend it. I'm awake. I'm awake now. The nominees for Outstanding Hard News Feature Story Long Form are
Day of Rage, How Trump Supporters Took the U.S. Capitol, The New York Times. Buried Truths, America's Indigenous Boarding Schools, Fault Lines, Al Jazeera International, USA. Southlake, Racial Reckoning in a Texas Suburb, NBC News Digital, NBC. So They Know We Existed, Palestinians Film War in Gaza, The New York Times. A Christian Summer Camp's History of Abuse, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to A Christian Summer Camp's History of Abuse, Vice News Tonight.
Accepting the Emmy, Nina Durson, correspondent.
And it just goes on and on.
Do you feel like these were efforts to silence you guys?
Silence, bully us. That was definitely a bullying tactic.
How much did this cost you?
It cost us over $40,000 for us to defend ourselves on this stuff that should have gone to Ashton's healing.
Complete disbelief, so did not prepare anything. But this story is all about the victims who were brave and willing to share their stories with us. These were people who had never spoken publicly, so we're so grateful to them, all the families who talked to us on camera and research, the people who've been fighting for justice for what happened and are still fighting for justice. But the team was amazing. So many people who aren't here tonight who worked so hard on this. Our senior producer, Joel Martinez, our producer, Brennan Cusack. Lucky to have Cassidy Dillon and Judy Kai, who worked so hard on putting this all together. Our editors, Mark Apostella, Christy Farizo, Adrian Quinlan, who spent hours with me trying to figure out the right words to use. Just so many people, our bosses, thank you so much. Jesse, Shane, Nikki, Maral, Nancy, everybody who gave us the time and space to tell this story means so much. And there's so many people who are daily still fighting to get attention for this story. So we're so thankful that we were able to tell just a little piece of it. Thank you.
And the nominees for Outstanding Feature Story in Spanish are
Carne de Cañón, Aquí y Ahora, Univisión investiga, Univisión. Galápagos, una ventana hacia el futuro, Noticiero Telemundo, Telemundo. 57 Days, OpDocs, The New York Times. The Death Cleaner, OpDocs, The New York Times. La lucha de mujeres negras e hispanas contra la amenaza del desalojo, Univision News Digital, Univision. Después de la tormenta, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to Cleaning Up Tonight. Después de la tormenta. Vice News Tonight.
Accepting the Emmy, David Mora, producer.
Señor Jesús, te digo que voy a emprender un viaje, Señor, de que yo siento que el quedarme más tiempo acá, viendo, rebuscándome, cómo sacar adelante a mis hijos, es casi que imposible, Señor.
So I'll start thanking the subjects in Spanish. I want to show this to them. So Renato, Jancy, Edgar y Heriberto, siempre vamos a estar muy agradecidos de que nos dejaron contar esta parte, este episodio de sus vidas. I'm also, of course, deeply, deeply thankful with everyone's advice. Nancy, Jesse, Shane, Subrata, Nikki, of course, our production and post-production teams, our security team as well. I'm especially grateful to Maralu Sefi and Craig. Of course, the people who edited this, Jose and Jeb, thank you so much. Our incredible DPs, Danielle, and of course, Jika, who she didn't only shot this one beautifully, but she also produced this one with me. So, muchísimas gracias.
Please welcome the President and CEO of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, Adam Sharp.
Good evening. Many of the speeches tonight start with thanking the Academy. Mine gets to start with the Academy thanking back. Thank you for being back here with us in person after 3 long years apart. Thank you for continuing to support our organization and this competition, particularly those of you who gave time to judge the biggest slate of submissions in our competition's history. Thank you to CBS, NBC, NYU, and Fordham for providing volunteers to help you navigate the room tonight and to bring out the statues on our stage. And thank you to Disney for sharing the ABC Super Sign out in Times Square tonight. Thank you to Four Roses, Delta, YouTube, Spoke Note, and our other sponsors. And thank you to the characters and creators of G-Zero's puppet regime for adding some levity to the festivities. Whether through submissions and judging, ticket buying or financial support, volunteerism or pointed satire, each of you has contributed to the most important goal of the evening, to recognize excellence in truth-seeking. Truth-seeking has never been an easy gig, and it has only gotten harder since we last met. The occupational hazards once associated with covering a story from a distant battlefield are now as likely to be born in the timeline of an app you carry around in your pocket. As we've seen in many a nominated package tonight, the war zone can just as easily reach home and test the very fabric of that same document that promises freedom of the press shall not be abridged. So tonight, we celebrate the truth seekers. Amidst the trophies, the cocktails, the speeches, we're here tonight because you're out there on all the others. So thank you. Now, for nearly 50 years, such truth-seeking has had a nightly home on public television. The legacy and impact of what is now known as the PBS NewsHour was recognized by this Academy with a special Chairman's Award in 2010. And the program's current anchor is our Lifetime Achievement winner tonight. To introduce her, we turn to the program's founding anchor. Robert McNeil served as a correspondent for ITV, Reuters, the BBC, and NBC News. He earned an Emmy Award for his public television coverage of the Watergate hearings, alongside co-anchor Jim Lehrer. A more than 20-year collaboration soon followed at the desk of what came to be known as the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour. Please join me in welcoming Robert McNeil.
Thank you. Thank you. In the late 1970s, Jim Lehrer and I were toying with the idea of enlarging our 1/2-hour nightly news program, the McNeil-Lehrer Report, to an hour. One of the people I talked to was Reuben Frank, creator at NBC of the Huntley-Brinkley Report, which was hugely successful. When I asked Reuben about our plans to expand to a full hour, he said, somebody has to break the mold. That idea had other supporters, Walter Cronkite, for example, who frequently talked to me about it. But affiliate stations were reluctant to give up a half-hour of valuable commercial time. However, on public television, our existing half-hour had impressed enough PBS stations with its one story a night. They made it a national program and then gave us a green light for a full hour. So we launched the McNeil-Lehrer News Hour. The reaction was mixed, but worth continuing support, so it was positive until what felt like disaster hit us. Jim Lehrer, my closest friend and business partner, suffered a heart attack, and that put him off the fledgling news hour for 3 months. Enter Judy Woodruff, whom we knew as chief Washington correspondent and a backup anchor. Judy was available and, in fact, helped save the news hour. She believed in our values in a program that tried to pick its way more coherently through the news, that slowed the news down to take its time, and not everywhere to be in a rush. Since I'm only a viewer now, not a working TV reporter myself, I'm more aware of how different are the styles on air. How some create a sense of urgency just raising their voices, interjecting a kind of arbitrary emphasis by stressing words or phrases that to my ears have no need to be emphasized. Not Judy Woodruff. She delivers copy in a manner that sounds conversational, but also emphatic while easy to listen to. Important but relaxed. In music, some performers may have a gift of perfect pitch or absolute pitch to identify or reproduce a musical note perfectly without support from a musical instrument. I believe that Judy has the verbal equivalent of perfect pitch in her delivery. I like what the New York Times once had to say about her. Miss Woodruff's measured delivery, with her hands clasped and her voice low, stands as a counterweight to the haywire era of American news. Later, when she sat beside Gwen Ifill, Judy became half of the first female co-anchor team of a national newscast. All along, yes. All along, Judy has brought civility, thoughtfulness, and grace to today's news and newsmakers with her own perfect pitch. And it fits perfectly with the values we wanted the news hour to convey and what Judy's been doing for years on the present news hour. So, with that, I'd like to introduce Judy Woodruff.
Other subjects that will come up during the two-day workshop are pollution, what they call institutionalized racism.
I began a series of special reports on housing discrimination in Atlanta.
The Space Shuttle Challenger exploded a minute and a half after launch at Cape Canaveral this morning. Judy?
4 of the 7 astronauts who died today were making their second voyage into space aboard the shuttle. The deal was worked out after days of discussions between councils and members of the House and Senate committees. Koki, who blinked?
Oh, I think both sides blinked.
And the headline was, you know, here we are 20 years into George Bush's public career, and we're still asking the question, who is he?
I haven't been too good about talking about it, Judy, and maybe that's partially my fault, I think.
People to say, well, how in the world is he going to do that and go ahead with a stimulus package of over $200 billion you've talked about, National Service Corps, infrastructure, jobs.
See, that's what makes it tougher.
On this, the first night of the new PBS NewsHour, we have a lot of news for you. But, Mr. President, with all due respect, what does it accomplish?
We want the Assad regime to understand that by using chemical weapons on a large scale against your own people, that needs to stop.
Thank you all, and good night. We try to be thoughtful. Every day, and amid the chaos and the maelstrom and the noise, It's made what I do and what all of us do, I think, more important. What matters to you?
Number one is education. The percentage is overwhelming on how many of our students can't read.
Did you think that it was appropriate for the President of the United States to bring up a political rival?
We can't really count on that because all we have from the committee are leaks.
It wasn't leaked. It was in his statement that he released. We're in the fourth wave. There aren't enough tests. Is it time for a new approach?
We know that the approach in terms of vaccines, boosters, and masks work.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, as you know, has been nominated by President Biden. What would be a compelling reason to deny her a seat on the court?
One of the concerns that I have is the integrity of the court itself.
Did you think at this stage of your life you would still be having to fight this fight?
It is still a very big challenge.
President Carter, Mrs. Carter, what is the secret to this partnership?
Well, I think we give each other space.
At the end of the day, we try to become reconciled.
And a personal note, as we say goodnight, this is a challenging time for most all of us. This invisible new virus is frightening and spreading rapidly. We're going to work our way through this. Let's keep others who may not be as strong and resilient as we are in mind too. And that's a News Hour for tonight. I'm Judy Woodruff. Please stay safe this weekend. Thank you and good night.
Tonight, in a room full of her peers, it's my great honor to introduce this evening's Lifetime Achievement honoree, Judy Woodruff.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Come on. Thank you. Thank you, Robin McNeil. I am beyond honored that this man who founded the NewsHour, as you just heard, would come back to introduce me tonight. He has been a mentor, a dear friend, and Robin, you've touched my heart. Thank you. And what you and Jim did, we all know, in creating this program, you literally made history. You added an entirely new dimension to television news in this country. We owe you an enormous debt of gratitude. Thank you, Robin. I have to say that video is a little bit of a tour of hairstyles over the years and a little bit of in and out, waning and waxing of a Southern accent. I am so grateful to the Academy for this. It came entirely out of the blue, and I think of so many other deserving folks, and I'm just incredibly grateful. Congratulations to all of the just extraordinary journalists who were nominated and the winners tonight. It is a reminder of what incredible journalism we are doing in this country against so many odds. So I salute each one of the journalists who were honored here tonight, whether you were a winner or a nominee or a runner-up. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I just want to say two things, and by the way, they told me I could have more than 30 seconds. I just want to speak about two things. And first, as all of us know here, television news takes a village. And in my case, it was a small city. So I want to express thanks to the multitude of people who made it possible for me to be standing here at all. To the mentors who were there to give me a break in the earliest days. Even the local news director, and may he rest in peace, who gave me my first job in journalism as the newsroom secretary right out of college. When I stood up to thank him in the lobby of the station, his answer was, "Of course, how could I not hire someone with legs like yours?" So many women here know this experience. There have been scores of others. Many are still with us. Some have passed on. Then CBS Atlanta affiliate news director Bob Brennan, Atlanta news icon Ray Moore, NBC's John Chancellor and Tom Brokaw, CNN's Ted Turner and Tom Johnson, and of course, the NewsHour's Robin McNeil and Jim Lehrer. And our former executive producers, the late Les Crystal and Linda Winslow, who is here tonight. Thank you, Linda. You have all taught me so much, so often, just by being you. And the colleagues I have learned from, Atlanta cameraman and later videographer and storyteller Leroy Powell, producer Phyllis Muller, the PBS, NBC, and CNN camera, sound, and lighting technicians, producers, editors who have put up with me over the years, makeup artists, correspondents like the late John Palmer of NBC, CNN's Bernard Shaw, and the NewsHour's Gwen Ifill, both my co-anchors, both extraordinary, and we lost both of them way too soon. Let's give them a hand. And the women in my life, a special category who have been there always, some of them even when we were competing with one another, and even when we went long gaps between seeing each other. Andrea Mitchell, my dear friend, who won this award 3 years ago. Trailblazer Charlene Hunter-Gault, Margaret Warner, go ahead and cheer them, Leslie Stahl, Jane Pauley, who is here tonight, Ann Compton of ABC. They cross the spectrum. I celebrate each one of you for the example you set. My thanks know no end. And plus, of course, the extraordinary team at the NewsHour today. Executive producer Sarah Just, here tonight. Sarah, she has overseen this program at a time of enormous political, social, and technological change and challenge. Brilliant producers, Murray Jacobson, Beth Summers, Ann Davenport, Travis Daub, all four of them are here tonight from Washington, Morgan Till, Emily Carpo, Erica Hendry, I could go on. On air, amazing, talented colleagues represented here tonight by Lisa Desjardins and Jeffrey Brown, yes. And the rest of our incredible team of NewsHour correspondents who I have the privilege of working with every day. Plus our hardworking general manager, Mike Rancilio, who is here, and communications whizzes Nick Masella and Ella Richardson. Thanks to each and every one of you for being here. Thank you. And I have to say the fantastic essential team at WETA, Washington's public television station, led by Sharon Rockefeller. No one has been more supportive. The man who directs the NewsHour in our control room every night, Joe Camp. Associate Director, Mary Lawrence. Both of you are here. Thank you. And a team of technicians and camera whizzes who make it all possible. I wish I could name every single one. At PBS, President Paula Kerger and her colleagues. At the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, President Pat Harrison, holding the banner high for independent public media. Now that is a city. In my other brief message, I want to say it's one that we cannot repeat often enough these days, and that is today, more than ever, we need a strong, independent, and courageous press in this country, in broadcast, in print, and in every other platform there is, seeking out the facts, telling the true stories, understanding the lives of ordinary Americans, holding the powerful accountable. Most of all, searching for the facts. In a moment when we are swimming in a sea of opinion, and thank God we can express opinion freely in this country, when our resources are stretched and when there is a raging debate over what's true and what isn't, we in journalism have to continue to do the hard work every day of reporting, double-checking, vetting, and confirming. We must get up every morning, put on our boots or our high heels, and resume the search for facts. It's not glamorous, it won't win us friends, but that's what our job is, and we cannot flag or grow weary. The American people are counting on us, our democracy depends on us, there is a lot of work to do. I plan to be part of that work as long as I can. I stop anchoring at the end of 2022, but I'll continue to report on these issues for a long time to come. The final thing I want to say is thank you to my family, to my wonderful husband and partner for 41 years, journalist Al Hunt, who's here. And to our 3 children, Jeffrey, Benjamin, and Hemi, who have supported and put up with my crazy schedule for a very long time. I wouldn't be here without you. I love each one of you more than life itself. To the Academy And to all of you, thank you so much.
I don't have anything to add to that.
I am in awe of Judy.
I also am. I mean, guys, let's pretend this never happened.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's just move on.
Public The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter which you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
The 43rd Annual News and Documentary Emmy Awards are brought to you by Delta, the official airline of the News and Documentary Emmys. Our next presenter is an NBC News anchor and correspondent, and she can currently be seen on NBC News Daily on NBC and NBC News Now. Please welcome from NBC News, Morgan Radford.
Good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here, and congratulations to everyone in the room. The work you're doing is important, it's thoughtful, it matters. Thank you for making space for us and out in the world. And I must say, watching those young and emerging journalists like Thomas Pozo, adelante, you belong here. This space is for you. And thank you for all your contributions to our industry. It is such a thrill to be here with you. And we all know that stories important to the public interest, they're not always the stories that are breaking, the breaking news. Sometimes it's a slowly simmering story, or even maybe a collection of related stories, just waiting for someone to dig in and bring it all together and into the light. This next group of categories honors those very types of stories. For outstanding business, consumer, or economic coverage, the nominees are
A New Model, 60 Minutes, CBS. GameStopped, ABC News Originals for Hulu, Hulu. The Paycheck, the systemic overtaxing of black homes in America, Bloomberg Quick Take, Bloomberg News. The Healthcare Divide, Frontline and NPR in conjunction with the Investigative Reporting Workshop, PBS. Boeing's Fatal Flaw, Frontline and the New York Times, PBS.
all right. And the Emmy goes to Boeing's Fatal Flaw, Frontline and the New York Times, PBS.
Accepting the Emmy, Tom Jennings, director and writer.
In the Lion Air crash, this system was receiving incorrect information, and that made a plane dive straight downward and destroy itself.
Inside Boeing, they quickly diagnosed the problem and began working on a fix. But they stood by the MAX as hundreds of them took to the air around the world, carrying thousands of passengers.
I'm here to accept this on behalf of my team. Tom is in London doing the work. My fellow producer, Vanessa Fica, is also out there doing the work that we're celebrating tonight. I'm totally in shock and shaking, and I'm a new mom, and this is my bedtime, so please bear with me. But I want to thank Rainey Aronson-Rath, Andrew Metz, Frank Hewen at Frontline. Thank you for your dedication to the most rigorous of investigative journalism and your support. Thank you to Jeff O'Brien and the team at Left Right. Jeff was our fearless editor on this project. I don't think we would have made it without him, so hats off to you yet again. At the New York Times, Natalie Kitroff, David Gellis, Jack Nikas, James Glanz, Jason Stallman. These were the fearless reporters who trusted us with their story. They spent a lot of time trying to get to the bottom of this. It was a David versus Goliath kind of story, and they were relentless in their work. And thank you for your patience with the film process. It is a long one, and I know it doesn't always make sense in the print world, so thank you for bearing with us. Everybody at Left Right, my family, thank you all very much for your support. I'm very humbled to be here. Thank you.
And the nominees for Outstanding Health or Medical Coverage are
Weed 6, Marijuana and Autism, CNN Special Report, CNN. Death Through a Nurse's Eyes, The New York Times Opinion Video, The New York Times. Move Fast and Vape Things, The New York Times Presents, FX. The Appointment, Nightline, ABC. Aging Inc., Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to Aging Inc., Vice News Tonight.
Accepting the Emmy, Josh Hirsch, correspondent.
Mom, wake up. Wake up, Mom. Mom? Mom? Ma? Are you there?
And this was the last picture I took of her, that she was alive.
Wow, what a year, man, you know? When Tomas and I started trying to make this documentary, we knew we weren't the first people to try to tell the story of what happens at nursing homes. But we wanted to try to explore why this industry seems so impervious to all the reporting that's out there. And the answer, obviously, is money. And telling that story on television is really, really hard. So we're so grateful to everyone who shared their story with us and helped illuminate this on screen, and to all the people at Vice, the graphics and archival and editing, and the DPs who helped bring this story to life. And thank you so much to everyone at Vice. Thank you to Tomas. Thank you to Maral. I don't know how you do it, honestly. Thank you to Nikki. You make the best news show on television, hands down. And thank you to Sabrata and Jesse and Nancy and Shane, everyone at Vice who makes this kind of work possible. And to my wife, Quinn. I love you. We've been through a lot this year, and I love you. Thank you.
Next up, the nominees for Outstanding Science, Technology, or Environmental Coverage are
CBS News, Eye on Earth, CBS News, CBS Mornings, CBS This Morning, and CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. CBS. Eating Planet Earth, the future of your food. CNN Special Report. CNN. The Forgotten Forests, deforestation in the deep. CNN. Unlivable Oasis, ProPublica, Time, Truly CA, Univision Noticias. Madagascar, the children of climate change. World News Tonight with David Muir, Nightline, ABC.
So this is really exciting. I'm told there is a three-way tie. So bear with me. The first Emmy tonight goes to, a ver, Eating Planet Earth, the future of your food. CNN Special Report, CNN.
Accepting the Emmy, Mike McCarthy, Executive Vice President and General Manager.
COVID-19 shut down life as we knew it and made a lot of folks rethink food, where it comes from, who provides it, and the incredibly complicated system that gets it into our bellies or doesn't. And it turns out that system grows all kinds of problems. Invisible gases that can cook the planet and burn a lot more than dinner.
Well, thank you very much to the Academy. This is really one for Jim Murphy and his team, I think, on the investigation side. There we are. Get up here. But as we're waiting for the team to come up, I will say we're enormously proud of all the work we do on the environmental and climate side, led by a sort of a chief climate correspondent, Bill Weir, who's down in Tampa actually covering the Hurricane Ian. But in the meantime, let me just introduce you to the team who can give you more insight into it.
Yeah, we are extremely honored tonight. This was so unexpected, and as you heard, Bill Weir, our CNN's chief climate correspondent, and our incredible photographer, Julian Quinones, are down in Florida. So on behalf of our entire team, we are here and super excited about this. As I said, very unexpected. The genesis of this was in 2019 with the huge explosion of plant-based phenoms like Beyond and Impossible Foods. And we were just struck by how this was sort of taking over, and with the science telling us that the food that was costing us more land, water, and pollution than any other was the cow. So we went on this exploration of, we went all over the country and found farmers and scientists who are making all sorts of incredible meat substitutes. And what we realized is that the food story is absolutely a climate story, which is what this became. So on behalf of Bill and Julian, as I said, our photographer, Avelio, also our photographer, our incredible editors that made this show look gorgeous. April Hawk, Meg Pearlstein, Al DeSanti, and Kent Healy, our graphics team, our APs, our beloved documentary SVP, Jim Murphy, who gave us the green light, every pun intended, and CNN for allowing us to do these kind of important climate and environment stories. Thank you so much.
And the second Emmy goes to Unlivable Oasis, ProPublica, Time, Truly TA, and Univision Noticias.
Accepting the Emmy, Mauricio Rodriguez Pons, visual journalist.
Son trailers que pasan arriba de los 10, 20 años aquí. Si no tienes unos buenos aires acondicionados, haz de cuenta que estás en el infierno, se siente feo. Ya no tiene nada de insolación. Cuando hace calor, pues entra todo el calorón.
Oh my God. Thank you very much to everyone, to the Academy, to Pedro y María por su valentía, por abrirnos las puertas de su casa, a Almudena, Nadia, todo ProPublica, y my co-director, Liz Well. Thank you very much.
And the third Emmy goes to Madagascar, The Children of Climate Change. World News Tonight with David Muir, Nightline, ABC.
Accepting the Emmy, Chris Dinan, Senior Broadcast Producer.
Says Madagascar produces less than 0.01% of carbon dioxide emissions worldwide. Yet they are the ones with disappearing food and water.
Is this the first time you've seen that? A completely climate-driven famine?
Unfortunately, yes. And what is really worrisome is that this crisis is growing bigger and bigger, and it might be the first one of a series that we might see in the world.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's a real shame that David, Almeen, and Esther weren't here. It was, they were very passionate about the project, and it was in this distinguished crowd, on this distinguished night, they would be very honored at having won the award and sharing in all the coverage of climate change and the commitment to it. One small aside in my 30 seconds is that after the piece aired, 26,000 ABC News viewers donated nearly $4 million to the World Food Program, which is the most ever received after a single piece. So thank you very much.
So I'm proud to say that Dateline has been NBC's signature news magazine and longest running primetime show since its debut back in 1992. And since then, it has consistently captivated viewers with its true crime reporting, with its investigations, its in-depth breaking news, and its podcasts. It has featured heavy-hitting anchors. We're talking Stone Phillips, Jane Pauley, Tom Brokaw, Katie Couric, Maria Shriver, Ann Curry, and that's just to name a few. Now helmed by Lester Holt, the first African-American to solo anchor a weekday network nightly newscast. Dateline is celebrating 30 years of compelling storytelling. So let's take a look at some of their most memorable moments.
I'm Lester Holt, and this is Dateline.
Welcome to our first show.
This is emotional for me. I can't imagine what it's like for you.
Did you ever say, I don't want to do this?
You dive into things.
She is an employee of NBC News.
Got a good grip on reality.
Can you pinpoint that?
That made me really uncomfortable.
One heartbreaking story.
Sounds like you'd like a do-over. Well, no.
The closer you are, more is revealed to you.
How many of you believe you were drugged by Bill Cosby?
It is totally your place to change the direction. That's what you do. You knew about him, and you didn't do anything.
That makes you a murderer.
This is living and breathing this.
If it hadn't been for Dateline, it would never got out.
Perhaps you think you know how it will end.
For all of us at Dateline, good night.
Congratulations on 30 years to our friends at Dateline NBC. Now back to the awards. Our news writers are tasked with taking in a lot of information and then organizing it all in a way that not only gets across the relevant facts, but also complements on-air talent style. The nominees for Outstanding Writing are
Escape from a House of Horror, 2020, ABC. 9/11, the FDNY, 60 Minutes, CBS. Handcuffed to the Truth, 60 Minutes, CBS. Soul of a Nation, Tulsa's Buried Truth, ABC News Live Prime, ABC. Return of the Taliban, a Vice News special report, Showtime.
And the Emmy goes to Escape from a House of Horror 2020, ABC.
Accepting the Emmy, Janice Johnston, executive producer.
Daylight arches over a pleasant suburban neighborhood. It's Sunday. Most residents are still asleep. Quietly, Riverside County Sheriff's deputies pull up to a house. On the outside, a house just like the others. It has been an hour and a half since Jordan Turpin climbed out the window.
I'm really honored to be standing before you representing Diane. I'm not Diane Sawyer, who is the writer of this special, but I've been privileged and honored to work with her for over 20 years. This was a hard show, and we were honored to tell the story of these incredibly brave young women. I want to share something that Diane wrote in the special. Sorry, I'm so nervous, and I see so many wonderful, friendly faces and people from my past, and oh, hello! So forgive me, I just feel the weight of this story, and if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, I urge you to take the chance to look at it and see what true strength is. From utter horror, these young ladies found strength and were able to share their stories with this incredible team, many of whom not on stage, who were able to bring it to you. So sorry. Not normally nervous. This story from Diane, this story is proof that out of horror can come such a beam of light. That's what this was. Blessed and honored to work with Diane, these wonderful women behind me, and again, many others who should be on stage who also were part of this story. Thank you very much.
I have the honor of introducing a new category tonight, and I could not be more excited about it. The Academy is now recognizing individual excellence by a broadcast or digital journalist working in Spanish language media. Eligible positions include reporters, anchors, hosts, and co-hosts in regularly scheduled news broadcasts or branded blocks of news programming that covers current and ongoing news stories. Here are the inaugural batch of nominees.
Ilia Calderón, Univisión. Vanessa Hawk, Telemundo. Cristina Londoño, Telemundo. Jorge Ramos, Univisión. Teresa Rodríguez, Univisión.
Y el premio, the Emmy, goes to Vanessa Hawk, Telemundo.
Accepting the Emmy, Vanessa Hawk, environmental anchor.
Cada año, más de 8 millones de toneladas de plástico terminan en las aguas de nuestros océanos. Se han encontrado rastros de este material en todas partes, desde el Polo Norte hasta la Antártida. El plástico no solo contamina, también mata a millones de especies de animales. Hoy en Planeta Tierra, como ya lo hemos contado, veremos el impacto de los plásticos y cómo todos podemos hacer una diferencia.
Oh my God. What an amazing honor to be standing here with all of you. I'm so thankful for this recognition. And before anything, I want to say that I would like to recognize my colleagues that are in the same category because they are just amazing role models and an inspiration for every Latino journalist in this country. Ilia Calderon, she is just spectacular. The wonderful Cristina Londoño, who I have the privilege to work with, Teresa Rodriguez and Jorge Ramos, that are just icons in journalism. I admire you, I respect you, and really it is truly an honor to be here with you, standing next to you. I would like to thank Noticias Telemundo, Telemundo Network, my home for the past 20 years, for giving me the opportunity to do what I love the most, that is to tell the stories of our community. I would like to thank and full of gratitude to the people that I get to work every day, because they are just amazing individuals that inspire me to do better and to be better every day. And of course, my family, my parents, for teaching me to pursue excellence all the time. My sister, my brother, my wonderful husband, and especially my son, Sasha, and my beautiful daughter, Suri, for inspiring me to be better and to do better. Thank you so much.
And now let's pause for a few moments to remember, to celebrate, to honor the lives and the careers of the colleagues to whom we said goodbye in the last year.
Our next presenter is a correspondent nominated this evening for Outstanding Emerging Journalist. From Vice News, please welcome Paola Ramos.
Mas, buenas noches. Just what a beautiful reminder of the shoulders that we're standing on. No? So it's an honor to be here with you tonight. We're almost there. I know everyone's tired. We're almost there, so just bear with me a little bit longer. Research is key for the honest, quality reporting that defines our industry. It requires careful investigation and study to discover facts, to collect information for a story, and to find the right materials to support a news report. The nominees for outstanding research are
Nowhere to Run, the Ahmaud Arbery story, 2020 ABC. Ethiopia, exposing the hallmarks of a genocide, CNN. Move Fast and Vape Things, The New York Times presents, FX. The Shockwave, Vice News, Vice. Handle with Care, investigating the for-profit foster care system, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
I love this. There's a tie. I really wanted to do this. Okay, the first Emmy goes to Ethiopia, exposing the hallmarks of a genocide, CNN.
Accepting the Emmy, Nima El-Bagher, Chief International Investigative Correspondent.
CNN can reveal, based on documentary evidence and witnesses' accounts, Ethiopian Airlines has been transporting weapons between Ethiopia and Eritrea since the beginning of the war in Ethiopia that has seen thousands killed. According to aviation experts, this would constitute a violation of aviation law.
Thank you. Sorry about that. It's not like I do television for a living or anything. It's such a privilege to lead this team. It's such an honor to be up here. As an investigative team, everything we do, it's hours and hundreds of hours of video, of interviews, and especially with the Ethiopia story at its heart, was this beautiful tradition in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church of memory keeping, of memorializing the loss and the tragedy and the pain. And it was both a privilege, but also, I think, one of the most difficult things this team has ever done, to have to walk people through excavating that pain and that loss. So I have to say, I'm so grateful to work alongside this extraordinary team. Senior producer Barbara Arvainatides not only helps us line everything up, but actually helps us make television out of it. Gianluca Mezzafiore, our investigative producer, our other investigative producer, Katie Polglaze, Bethlehem Faleke in Nairobi, who herself is Ethiopian American, with all the pressures and the difficulties that it brought to be part of that story. In addition to that, we had Eliza McIntosh from Digital. We have our wonderful head of the investigative unit, Downright. Please forgive me, I know it's late, but the nice thing about winning is that you get to say all these wonderful people's names. So, bloody hell, I'm gonna say them. And you people are gonna stay awake, okay? Because they deserve to have their names said. The head of our investigative unit, Downright, my wonderful boss, Debs Rayner, who's in the colorful Gucci suit right there, Mike McCarthy, who you've already seen, Leo Kapelis and Michael Bass, who convince domestic programming like The Lead with Jake Tapper to take these difficult stories. Investigations are so difficult. We need every pair of eyes, and our fantastic photojournalist, Alex Platt, very much keeps me on the straight and narrow, our video editor, Mark Barron, and we're really grateful to Chris Licht for not turning the faucet off. It's expensive, it's difficult, resources are taken out of the system, and I think I cannot, and this is my job, so I really should find the words, I cannot put into words how difficult this has been for the victims of this of what carries all the hallmarks of genocide, to have a US administration that is equivocating around announcing whether or not they have found that the Ethiopian government is guilty of genocide, to have an international community that consistently looks away when things are difficult. So we are so grateful to the people who willingly risked not only their lives, but risked the memories of the people that they had lost by entrusting them to us. Thank you, and thank you to the Academy.
All right, and the second Emmy goes to the Shockwave Vice News.
Accepting the Emmy, Paula Newdorf, Director.
For a second, I felt like I should close my eyes and just give up. And then I thought I can open my eyes and I could feel my hands. And then I moved a bit my legs. I saw that I could move. So I pushed myself up.
Wow. Thank you for hanging in through this long ceremony. This piece, it's 2 years on from the Beirut explosion, and I just want to say, you know, the families, the loved ones of the more than 200 victims of that explosion are still seeking justice. We had an incredible team. Thank you so much to Vice and to Lama, our producer and correspondent, obviously, Jawad, Gemma, Kareem, incredible editor, Ben Foley, amazing DP, EP Matt Skeen, Subrata, Jesse, Shane, Nancy. Thank you for supporting this work. And yeah, I'm amazed. So really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. So now I have the honor of presenting a new category tonight, as the Academy is now recognizing overall excellence in Spanish language news programs. These nominees represent regularly scheduled news broadcasts and branded blocks of news programming presented entirely in Spanish. Los nominados son
Al Punto, Univisión. Aquí y ahora, Univisión. Noticias Telemundo en la noche, Telemundo. Noticiero Telemundo, Telemundo. Noticiero Univisión, Univisión.
This one's funny. Okay. The Emmy goes to Noticiero Univisión, Univisión.
Accepting the Emmy, Teresa Rodriguez, Anchor.
Esto es lo que ocurre con todas las mercancías, pero con las personas, con los inmigrantes ocurre exactamente lo mismo, solo que ellos vienen de allá, de Guatemala, hacia México y luego los Estados Unidos. Hoy hablé con un coyote, no le gusta que le llamen coyote ni contrabandista, dice que él es un facilitador de oportunidades para inmigrantes.
I feel like I'm all in the family. For those of you who may not know, Paola is Jorge Ramos' daughter. And I knew her when she was still in her mom's belly, so this has come full circle. So obviously, a lot of our team is also down in Florida covering Ian. So on behalf of everyone at Noticias, thank you to the Academy, our news president, Leopoldo Gomez, vice president, Maria Martinez Guzman. We are extremely honored for this recognition as the first female to co-anchor this national newscast back in 1982, of course. You know I was a baby at the time anyway. Many naysayers doubted that a Spanish language network, much less a news program, would ever make it. And boy, did we prove them wrong. I am so proud of our entire team for their commitment, their passion, their integrity, and for being the longest trusted Spanish language news organization in the United States. Felicidades a todos, trabajo en equipo. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you all so much.
Okay. News specials take us outside of the regularly scheduled news cycle, offering longer form and deeper explorations of newsworthy topics and coverage of special events. The nominees for Outstanding Recorded News Special are
9/11, the FDNY, 60 Minutes, CBS. Juneteenth, Together We Triumph, ABC News, Soul of a Nation, ABC. Reckonings, ABC News, Soul of a Nation, ABC. Behind the Badge, CBS Sunday Morning, CBS. Return of the Taliban, a Vice News Special Report, Showtime.
Okay, and the Emmy goes to 9/11, the FDNY.
Accepting the Emmy, Maria Gavrilovic, producer.
Their fragment of an intact stairwell lay upon a mountain of misery. 16 acres of wreckage, 91 crushed FDNY vehicles, and quiet, like the first heavy snow of winter.
First Emmy. Thank you so much, sincerely. Thank you to the Academy for honoring our special that's so incredibly important to us. This project meant the world to us, but especially to our indomitable correspondent, Scott Pelley, who is the very best in the business. Thank you for trusting us with this. It was an honor for all of us to work with you on this. Thank you to Bill Owens and Tanya Simon, to our incredible producing team, to Alex Ortiz, to Pete Berman, to Tad Lascari, Michelle Kareem, Don Lee, and April Wilson. And thank you to the FDNY, whose courage we're still in awe of, brotherhood. They were simply amazing for trusting us with their story. So thank you very much. And Sky, yes.
And if I may, it has been 21 years. But we should never forget that 343 members of the FDNY were lost on that day. And we'd like to dedicate this award to their memory. Thank you so much.
Now, the nominees for Outstanding Live News Special are
Mission to Mars, live, ABC News Live, ABC. 9/11, 20 years later, America remembers, ABC News Special Events, ABC. The inauguration of Joseph R. Biden Jr., ABC News Special Events, ABC. The 15th Annual CNN Heroes All-Star Tribute, CNN. Lives Well Lived, Deadline, White House, MSNBC.
Okay, the Emmy goes to the 15th Annual CNN Heroes All-Star Tribute, CNN.
Accepting the Emmy, Mark Doctorow, Executive Producer.
I stand before you today, a very broken woman. My life will never be the same since my son died. But it's important that you know that broken people are still very much useful.
Thank you very much. You know, with all the hideousness in the world and the dark cloud that's been hanging over the last few years, it is incredibly rewarding to be able to shine a light on the important causes and the unbelievably inspiring and selfless everyday people who are at the heart of every CNN hero story. It's great to remind people that there's still some good out there. I have to thank our director, Brett Kelly, our hosts, Anderson Cooper and Kelly Ripa, our writer, Wendy Button, KP and our talent team, our fearless leader, Jim Murphy, Sarah, Kate, Kara, Alexa, everyone at CNN Special Events, and everyone at CNN who helps us make this show happen. And I must shout out our incredible CNN Heroes team, Michelle, Christy, Kathleen, Allie, Jimmy, Liz, Megan, Laura, Gabe, Raina, and Akaya. We have a fantastic team, and we love doing what we do. Thank you very much.
Let's take a moment to thank our 2 Emmy envoys who've been assisting on stage tonight. You've seen them. Chloe Zelk and David Escobar are both journalism majors at Fordham University right here in New York City. Fordham's journalism program prepares reporters just like them to serve the public interest in the digital age, armed with strong practical skills, a deep grounding in journalism history and ethics, and sharp critical thinking. Thank you both so much. Okay, and now I am honored to present the Emmys for Best News Coverage. These programs and their creators represent the very finest package of research, writing, direction, and production culminating in an exceptional piece of reporting. The nominees for Best News Coverage, short form, are
The Coup in Myanmar, CNN. Ethiopia, exposing the hallmarks of a genocide, CNN. How a U.S. drone strike killed the wrong person, The New York Times. Proud Boys were key instigators in Capitol riot, The Wall Street Journal. Banned, a woman's 200-mile journey to get an abortion, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
Okay, the Emmy goes to How a U.S. drone strike killed the wrong person, The New York Times.
Accepting the Emmy, Christoph Kotel, senior video journalist.
The Pentagon claimed that Ahmadi was a facilitator for the Islamic State and that his car was packed with explosives, posing an imminent threat to U.S. troops guarding the evacuation at the Kabul airport.
The procedures were correctly followed, and it was a righteous strike.
Thank you so much. This was an incredibly important story for all of us. It would not have been possible with the support of the surviving Ahmadi family, who was talking. They were talking to us during an extremely difficult time for them. We're really grateful to them. We're also thankful to Nutrition Education International, who provided the security camera footage, which was at the core of this piece. The story itself was led by the small but very mighty visual investigations team at the New York Times. It's a growing team, and everyone on that team covered the US withdrawal from Afghanistan. So this award is really for the whole team. Thank you so much.
one more for me. The nominees for Best News Coverage Long Form are
9/11, the FDNY, 60 Minutes, CBS. Get Away from the Target, Rescuing Migrants from the Libyan Coast Guard, The Outlaw Ocean Project, and The Guardian. Return of the Taliban, a Vice News special report, Showtime. Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan, Vice News Tonight, Vice. Yemen, The Forgotten War, Vice News Tonight, Vice.
And the Emmy goes to Return of the Taliban, a Vice News special report, Showtime.
Accepting the Emmy, Seb Walker, Senior Producer.
How do you think Afghanistan will be different under the rule of the Taliban?
إن شاء الله دلته خدا نو د اوسنی اسلامي نظام او د مخکینی چې کوم دلته یو غلام اداره و شریعت د اسلام هغه خو نو خپل حدود لري.
Thank you very much. As you can see, it was a huge team behind this film. It really did take all of our newsroom. There were so many people who contributed in ways great and small. I want to start off by thanking Showtime for the opportunity to tell these stories and the platform that you give us. Thank you to Zoe Rogovin, Binim Al-Hotra. For Vice, thanks to Jesse Sobrada, showrunner Bev Chase, Shane, Nancy Dubuck, the whole team here. It's probably going to take a long time to go through everybody. So what I'll say is it's gotten a lot harder since we made this film to report in Afghanistan, but we are going to continue to do that. And it's a crisis that continues to unfold, and it deserves the world's attention. To that point, I want to dedicate this award to all of the Afghan journalists who continue to report on the ground, reporters, TV presenters, broadcasters. This is for you. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you to the Academy. We're very honored. Appreciate it.
Well, friends, I think we can agree this was pretty depressing night for all of us. And not only because sanctions wrecked my cheese plate.
The cheese plate was terrible. But worse for us is that journalists keep doing what they are doing.
Telling truth about our unprovoked wars, our complete lack of COVID cases and concentration camps,
our sectarian crackdowns,
our attempts to intimidate and silence them.
Yeah, given the stakes, let me tell you, these journalists really are pretty fearless.
What the hell is a journalist?
Uh-oh, guys. News alert. No, is it about one of us? Нет. It's about public regime.
There's nothing like being with your friends at your favorite gathering spot. And there's nothing like the smooth taste of Four Roses Bourbon. Four Roses, official bourbon of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences.
Taking a chance. Taking inspiration. Taking it in starts with taking off.
Our final presenter of the evening is an Emmy Award-winning journalist and anchor at Noticias Telemundo. She is also the director of the investigative unit on environmental issues at Telemundo Network's Planeta Tierra. Please welcome Vanessa Hawk.
Everyone, again, it's truly a pleasure to be back here. First of all, I want to acknowledge that I am tonight here standing in for Julio Vaqueiro. He's supposed to be here with us, but he's in Sarasota, in Florida, leading our coverage on the impacts of Hurricane Ian. But I'm just honored to be representing him and the entire Noticias Telemundo team. Okay, so let's get to it. An interview can be a primary source, or it can come on the heels of extensive research and investigation. Regardless, it is truly an art, requiring the careful balance of having a conversation and engaging in some serious fact-finding. The next two categories recognize excellence in this art. The nominees for Outstanding Edited Interview are
Escape from a House of Horror, 2020 ABC. The Facebook Whistleblower, 60 Minutes, CBS. Harry Dunn, Capitol Police Officer, ABC News, Soul of a Nation, ABC. Alec Baldwin, Unscripted, ABC News Special, ABC. COVID War, The Pandemic Doctors Speak Out, CNN Special Report, CNN.
And the Emmy goes to Escape from the House of Horror, 2020 ABC.
Accepting the Emmy, Janice Johnston, Executive Producer.
Yeah, I was shaking it, so I was trying to dial 911, but I couldn't even get my thumb to press the buttons because I was shaking so bad. But I was trying to calm down.
Oh boy. Hi, I'm humbled to be standing before you again, and I don't take this lightly. I'm also privileged to lead a wonderful show that has been telling stories for 45 years. This is the family of 2020, and I'm extremely proud of this team and this story. I do want to share some names with you of some of the incredible people who helped tell the story. In addition to the many people behind me, of course, Diane Sawyer, the greatest storyteller there is, David Sloan, Mark Robertson, Allison Weiner, Christina, Tess, Claire, Acacia, the entire investigative team, David Scott, John Santucci, Josh Margolin, Brian Mazursky, the editors, the APs, so many people behind me, hello. We are privileged to have shared their story. It is their story. And we thank you so much for this honor. Thank you to the Academy, and thank you to all of our family at ABC News, and to Kim Godwin, our wonderful news president. Thank you so much, everyone.
And now the nominees for Outstanding Live Interviews are
Unvaccinated, a cautionary COVID tale. ABC News Live Prime, ABC. Exclusive interview with Officer Michael Fanone, Don Lemon Tonight, CNN. Jacob Soboroff, live in Haiti with migrants expelled to danger by U.S. MSNBC reports, MSNBC. The New York Times Dealbook Summit, one-on-one with Adam Newman, The New York Times. A congressman's final words. Jake Tapper speaks to Representative Paul Mitchell on his deathbed. State of the Union, CNN. Dealing with tragedy. Jake Tapper interviews Representative Jamie Raskin after son's death and January 6th. State of the Union, CNN.
And the Emmy goes to the New York Times Dealbook Summit, one-on-one with Adam Newman, The New York Times.
Accepting the Emmy, Jordan Cohen, Executive Director, Corporate Communications.
My next guest is Adam Newman, the co-founder and former CEO of WeWork, once one of the most valuable and sought-after private companies. In 2019, when it was time to sell the business to the public market at a valuation of $47 billion, it all came crashing down. Investors rejected the company's governance structure, exploding losses and conflicts of interest. Ultimately, Newman was forced to step down from the company he co-founded in what was a dramatic exit. Books have been written about it.
Okay, so we're going to give another round of applause for the New York Times. Okay, so our news directors rattle every element of a production, from the creative to the technical, to present a finished, polished product on air. The nominees for Outstanding Direction are
9/11 Babies, 20 Years Later, 2020, ABC. ABC News, Soul of a Nation, ABC. Juneteenth, Together We Triumph, ABC News, Soul of a Nation, ABC. The 15th Annual CNN Heroes All-Star Tribute, CNN. January 6th, CNN.
And the Emmy goes to Juneteenth, Together We Triumph, ABC News, Soul of the Nations, ABC.
Accepting the Emmy, Teen Fields, Director.
Black farmers are at the root of agriculture in the U.S., but today they make up less than 2% of the nation's farmers. ABC News correspondent Kenneth Moten talks to one man who's planting seeds of change to keep farmers of color afloat.
To say I'm nervous is an understatement. There's a reason directors are behind the scenes and not in front of the spotlight, but I thought a lot about what I could say, and I think I want to say that our president has a hashtag that she has. It's called OneABC, and she puts it at the end of every email, and I think it's really indicative of what Soul of a Nation is. It took all of us across all the different shows. I can thank everybody here, you know, at ABC, and not just Soul of a Nation. We all contributed to making the show successful, but there's 6 people that I want to thank. The first 4 are the voice of reason for me, because when I was asked to actually be an editor for the series, I had doubts, I had questions. And the people that answered my questions were Eric Johnson, Robo Embriano, Susan Welsh, Miss Lucille, and Candace Smith-Chekwa. And Candace actually hit me with guilt. She said that, hey team, if we do this and it's a success, you're gonna be regretting the fact that you weren't a part of it. And if we do this and it fails, you're gonna be regretting the fact that you weren't there to help fix it. And I took that to heart, came onto this show, and met some incredible people that I didn't even know I worked with, who are now not just colleagues, but friends that I talk to all the time. The 2 other people that I wanna thank is somebody who's been my biggest cheerleader in ways that I didn't even imagine, and that was Kat McKenzie. And I think I saved the best for last, the visionary of this show, the special Soul of a Nation. She not only created this platform, she gave us a voice, but she also let me lead a group of people that probably couldn't understand half the ideas that I was coming up with, but followed, and that's Marie Nelson. I thank you. Thank you so much.
And now I get to introduce another brand new category. The Academy wishes to recognize up-and-coming talent and highlight not only the important role these young journalists are playing in the future of news, but how they are shaping it right now. The very first nominees in the Outstanding Emerging Journalist categories are
Antonia Hilton, NBC. Omar Jimenez, CNN. Anna Cook, AJ+. Paula Ramos, Vice. Rachel Scott, ABC.
And the Emmy goes to Rachel Scott, ABC.
Accepting the Emmy, Rachel Scott, Congressional Correspondent.
Opponents who are dead, imprisoned, or jailed is long. Alexei Navalny's organization calls for free and fair elections, an end to corruption. But Russia has outlawed that organization, calling it extremist. And you have now prevented anyone who supports him to run for office. So my question is, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Thank you. Okay, wow, they don't tell you that you shake uncontrollably once you actually get up here. I'll start by saying every story starts somewhere. And mine started at ABC News as a production associate, fresh out of college, out of USC, with big dreams of one day covering politics. And thank you, fight on. So I want to start by just thanking ABC News, our president, Kim Godwin, Jonathan Greenberger, Mary Noonan, Mark Burstein, Kat McKenzie, Wendy Fisher, and Galen Gordon. Thank you for giving me a runway to chase my dreams. To the producers on Capitol Hill, to the shows across the network, you have made me a better journalist. And it's really ironic to be standing up here by myself because I look out and I see people like Martha Raddatz, I see Pierre Thomas, I see Jonathan Karl, Rebecca Jarvis, I see Steve Osunsami, people who I look up to so much and have poured so much back into me. And I just want to say thank you so much. I want to say thank you to God, my family, my parents who are here. Everything I am is because of you, and I'm so grateful for your sacrifices. And lastly, I just want to reflect back on that moment that we just saw. After I asked that question to President Vladimir Putin, one of the questions that I got was, how in the world does a 28-year-old American get in the room with the Russian president? And I remember even asking myself that question. And so this award is given to journalists under 35. So tonight I want to say to all the young emerging journalists, may we remind ourselves that our time is much better spent asking the tough questions than it is questioning our right to be in the room. And to all the young production associates out there who are working overtime, the producers who have big dreams of one day landing that exclusive, I promise you, let my story serve as proof that you will actually get there. My hope is that we continue to be inspired by each other's journeys, but extremely proud of our own. And I am just so thankful, so thank you.
And now we have arrived at the final 2 awards of the evening. All of our next nominees represent consistently exceptional work on a single program over the course of a full year, something that can only be accomplished through the hard work of an exceptional team. I'm talking, of course, about Outstanding News Program. First, the nominees for Outstanding Recorded News Program.
(2020) ABC. 60 Minutes, CBS. ABC News, Soul of a Nation, ABC. CBS Sunday Morning, CBS. Nightline, ABC.
And the Emmy goes to 60 Minutes, CBS.
Accepting the Emmy, Bill Owens, executive producer.
They cannot act independently. Facebook over and over again has shown it chooses profit over safety. It is subsidizing, it is paying for its profits with our safety. I'm hoping that this will have had a big enough impact on the world that they get the fortitude and the motivation to actually go put those regulations into place.
Okay, so it's time to leave. I have just two things to say. One is thank you to the entire team of 60 Minutes. We take it really seriously. We've been doing this for a long time. We, in large part, do it for the people who came before us, and we're proud of the work we do. And secondly, I would like to dedicate this to Bill Plant, who was a mentor to me, to Scott Pelley, a close colleague of Leslie's, and just a tremendous human being. So thank you all. Appreciate it. To the Academy as well.
And the nominees for the final award of this evening, Outstanding Live News Program, are
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, ABC. Anderson Cooper 360, CNN. CBS Mornings, CBS This Morning, CBS. The Lead with Jake Tapper, CNN. NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, NBC. Today, NBC.
And the final Emmy of the evening celebration is for CBS Mornings, CBS This Morning, CBS.
Accepting the Emmy, Shauna Thomas, executive producer.
We hitched a ride with the Ukrainian military to a corner of Europe where lush pastures have become killing fields. We hiked past decimated villages and through muddy trenches with Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky. Less than 150 yards from the enemy, we were warned they could hear us.
Walk faster, y'all. Come on, people need to leave. I'd like to thank Vice News. No. So I need to thank some executives. I want to thank Neeraj, Wendy, Ingrid, Bob Backus, George Cheeks, everyone. I also want to clearly thank Gail King, Nate Burleson, Tony DeCopel, Anthony Mason, Vlad Dutier. I want to thank these amazing people up here, but I want to name some names that don't show up in Variety or, Puck, because they're the people that get us on the air every day so we can tell these stories. Ray McKinney is my senior production manager, and he just gets things done. Colin Burrow is a production manager that this morning helped do 5 hours of television and brought in more remotes from multiple networks so that we could actually cover the hurricane. Clara Yang this morning is an associate director who dealt with counting multiple times and literally had to have me yelling at her, how much time do we actually have left in this block? But she got it all right this morning. Shantae Fripp directs every damn day. Wes Carlton edits the eye opener, which someone in this room created, so fine, whatever. Everyone in this room gets paid to tell stories. Some of those stories even change lives. Some of those stories in the reel we submitted did change lives. People got Purple Hearts. People got medical care. People got noticed and understood. And it's a privilege that we get to do this. It can be important. It can also be fun, guys. And it is damn cool that we get to do this for a living. And lastly, though Bill just did it, I'm also going to dedicate this to Bill Plant, who I was a White House producer for a different network at the White House. I got to see Bill Plant in action. He's an amazing man. He understood news. He understood politics. He asked hard questions, and he loved his wine. Thank you, everybody.
And with that, we conclude News Night of the 43rd Annual News and Documentary Emmy Awards presentation. Tomorrow is Documentary Night, celebrating the best broadcast documentaries. Congratulations to all our nominees and winners this evening. It was truly an honor to stand on this stage and recognize every one of these incredible, talented people. And it was also wonderful to be surrounded by all of you, a live audience full of amazing representatives of our industry. As we move in the final months of just another exciting and crazy year, I want to send a very special thank you to everyone in our industry for the hard work that you do to make sure the flow of information never stops, for shining a light into the dark corners and bringing out the truth, and for bearing witness. Muy buenas noches, thank you and good night.
In all categories, the News and Documentary Emmy Awards are judged by members of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, Inc., or other experienced television professionals. Voting is conducted securely online by panels of industry peers. The results of all the secret voting are known only to the independent accounting firm of Lutz & Carr, LLP, and EY until the broadcast. Full competition rules and guidelines are available at theemmys.tv. Join us tomorrow night, September 29th, here at the Palladium Times Square for the 43rd Annual News and Documentary Emmy Awards, celebrating excellence in documentary. Or view the ceremony at watch.theemmys.tv and on the Emmys apps. This is your announcer, Elena Hurst, wishing you a wonderful evening.